Right after our son finished his college entrance exams, my husband went on vacation with his mistress. They ended up in a shipwreck. He drowned, leaving me buried in debt, with creditors at my door. I worked myself to the bone, illegal gigs, hauling cement, 16-hour days to pay debts and fund our son's education, home, and car. Then on the day our son made it big, my dead husband reappeared after 7 years with his mistress, ready to cash in. My son affectionately held his mistress's hand, scowling as he kicked me out of the house. "You fool, I was never some orphan you adopted. This is my real mother. You were somewhat useful when younger, but now you just reek of old age. Pack your bags and get lost. Don't ruin our happy family." Years of overwork took their toll, and I dropped dead from sheer rage. When I opened my eyes again, I'd traveled back to the day my husband was about to take his mistress to the beach. Our company's beach retreat will probably last 2 or 3 days. Yajing, make sure you take good care of our son while I'm away. Before leaving, my husband Chen Fei stood by the entryway putting on his shoes while reminding me. When I didn't respond after a long while, he craned his neck and urged, "Yajing, did you hear me? And where's my suitcase? The company car's already at the neighborhood gate. Hurry up and bring it." Just as Chen Fei was rushing anxiously into the house, only then did I slowly wheel out my suitcase, holding the contract as I explained. Coming. It just occurred to me our neighborhood property contract needs renewing. You're the homeowner. Quick. Just sign here real quick." 1. Chen Fei signed impatiently without even reading the contract terms. He hastily scrawled his signature. "Honestly, dumping this on me right before I leave. What exactly have you been doing at home all this time? I'm off now. Don't forget, take good care of our boy." I nodded repeatedly and saw Chen Fei off with a polite smile. Only after watching him nod did I carefully peel back the property contract's cover, revealing bold lettering beneath, "Life Insurance Contract." Because I knew Chen Fei wouldn't return from this sea voyage alive. In my past life, Chen Fei claimed it was a company retreat, but in reality, he was vacationing with his mistress. He then staged a shipwreck to fake his death and deceive me. Amidst my grief, I was left dealing with mountains of debt he'd mysteriously accumulated, juggling childcare with backbreaking work to repay debts. As a housewife with no marketable skills, I could only take grueling manual jobs, delivering food, hauling cement, scrubbing toilets, pushing myself to the brink just to provide for mine and Chen Fei's only son, putting him through college, buying him a home and car. The day finally came when my son achieved success, and I thought my days of hardship were over. To my shock, Chen Fei came back with his mistress Wang Yuqing. What infuriated me even more was that my own son Chen Tianyu refused to acknowledge me as his mother. Right in front of me, he held Wang Yuqing's hand affectionately while smugly mocking my foolishness. "You idiot, I was never some orphan you adopted. This is my real mother." Then with a dark expression, he had the housekeeper throw all my belongings out, kicked me out of the house I bought for him. "You were somewhat useful in your youth, but now you just reek of decay. Pack your things and get out. Don't ruin our family's happiness." Watching the 3 of them enjoying their perfect little life together, I was seething with rage, determined to demand justice, but years of overwork had already broken my health, and the overwhelming fury stopped my heart right then and there. I'll die with my eyes wide open. At this thought, I tightened my grip on the insurance contract in my hand. "Screw your fake death. In this lifetime, I'll personally send you 3 bastards to hell." The sun was already high when Chen Tianyu finally dragged himself out of bed after gaming all night. He propped his feet on the table, barking orders at me like some entitled lord. "Mom, bring my food to my room. The dining area's too damn hot. I'm eating here." I couldn't be bothered to respond, keeping my head down as I packed my things. A bastard like Chen Tianyu doesn't deserve another ounce of kindness. Just remembering his ungrateful face from our past life, that homewrecker's blood still running through his veins, makes me sick to my stomach. Chen Tianyu waited for a while, but nothing happened. He shuffled over in his slippers, grumbling curses under his breath. "Are you deaf? Didn't you hear me talking to you? I told you to bring my meal to my room." Without hesitation, I grabbed Chen Fei's razor and hurled it at him. "Deaf my ass. Who the hell do you think you're talking to? I'm your mother, not your maid. How dare you order me around? Dinner's on the table, eat it or starve." Tianyu Chen was stunned by my outburst. The razor clattered at his feet, shattering into pieces. It shook Tianyu badly. He never expected his usually patient mother to snap like that. He'd been about to talk back, but seeing my murderous glare and the watch still clutched in my hand, it looked like one more word from him would earn another smash. Chen Tianyu swallowed his words, fuming. He retreated to his room and ordered takeout alone. as if throwing a tantrum at me. Chen Tianyu stayed holed up in his room for days on end. The place was turning into a pigsty, yet he couldn't care less. Whatever. This old housemaid would clean up anyway, might as well trash the place. Perfect timing. With no disturbances, I spent those days meeting realtors, renting a new place, and shipping my belongings over. The moment Chen Fei kicks the bucket. I'm flipping this house for cash, not just to live large, but to ensure Chen Tianyu never tracks down his mom begging for support. The day after Chen Fei left, thunderstorm raged outside with deafening cracks. Humming a tune, I lounged on the sofa scrolling through my phone in good spirits. Chen Tianyu emerged from his room unnoticed, reeking of stale sweat. He kicked the sofa leg and snapped, "Hey, lend me some cash. I'm broke and can't order takeout." Without even looking up, I retorted, "No money, earn it yourself if you want some." Chen Tianyu glared at me. "I'm still a student. Where am I supposed to get money? Dad told you to take care of me before he left, and this is how you've been treating me. Mark my words, you'll regret this. If anything happens to Dad, I'll be your only anchor and comfort. You'll be falling over yourself to pamper me by then." Hearing Chen Tianyu's words, I scoffed. "We'll talk when your father actually kicks the bucket." The moment I said it, my phone started ringing. A familiar female voice answered the call. Wang Yuqing. "Hello, I'm a nurse from XX Hospital in City A. We're calling to ask you to come identify your husband's remains. Mr. Chen Fei has just drowned." The voice on the other end was loud. Chen Tianyu couldn't conceal his excitement as he watched for my reaction after hearing this. Putting on an exaggerated look of grief, she asked me, "Mom, something terrible happened to Dad. What should we do? Let's hurry to the hospital and see what's going on." 2. I gave her a sidelong glance. Such terrible acting, hung up without hesitation and brushed it off. What's there to see? Just a damn scam call. Ignore it. Chen Tianyu was completely dumbfounded. I always play by my own rules. After barely 2 minutes of silence, the phone rang again from the other end. I hung up again. Wang Yuqing called back. After 2 rounds of back and forth, Wang Yuqing's voice was practically steaming with frustration when she finally gave notice. I just brushed it off with, "You can't just declare someone dead. Since when did you become the king of hell? Where's the death certificate? Photos prove nothing. I need the original document delivered to my home with an official seal. That's the only way I'll believe you're not a scammer." Wang Yuqing had no choice but to have a courier deliver the death certificate. Seeing that death certificate stamped with bright red official seals, I stood frozen for what felt like eternity, my entire body trembling uncontrollably. Chen Tianyu secretly gloated beside me, thinking I'd finally accepted Chen Fei's death and begun grieving. Feigning concern, he comforted, "Mom, let's go check on Dad at the hospital first. From now on, it's just you and me relying on each other." But Chen Tianyu didn't know, my trembling comes not from sorrow, but exhilaration. For now, I've successfully dragged everyone down with me, forging a death certificate. Wang Yuqing, as a hospital nurse, will face criminal charges for this. Head bowed, my voice choked with emotion. "Tianyu, I can't believe it. I refuse to believe your father would just leave us like this. Let me go see him first. After I've seen your father and confirmed everything, I'll let you know. You're still so young. My heart aches for you." With that, I stuffed the death certificate into my bag and walked out the door. The moment I left, Chen Tianyu couldn't wait to start badmouthing me to Wang Yuqing. "Mom, it worked. That bitch actually bought it." She was shaking with grief. "She's driving to the hospital now. Hurry up and get Dad prepped with anesthesia. Soon enough, that idiot will be slaving away for our family." But Chen Tianyu never expected the direction I was driving toward. It was the police station. "Hello, my husband has passed away. I'm here to cancel his household registration." The account closure was processed swiftly. Tianyu Chen kept pressing me about whether I'd gone to the hospital, but I brushed him off with traffic excuses. Right after, I visited the insurance company and easily claimed Fei Chen's insurance payout, a full 3 million, using the death certificate and police station documents. Stepping out of the insurance office, I couldn't stop grinning from ear to ear. Life's 3 greatest joys: promotion, fortune, and widowhood. I've hit the jackpot with 2, but my celebration was cut short. Chen Tianyu called, demanding angrily, "Mom, where on earth have you been? I'm already at the hospital. Dad's really gone. You need to come see him one last time." I quickly pretended to sob and explained, done in one fluid motion. "Tianyu, I was crying so hard I couldn't even grip the steering wheel properly. Had to pull over for a breather. I'm fine now. Be right there." Then I floored it while booking the Forensic Institute en route, even called in a whole van load of security personnel as backup. "Crack, Mrs. Liu, you suspect foul play in your husband's death and want us to confirm through autopsy." I nodded and instructed, Please conduct the autopsy on site. By the time I arrived, Chen Fei was already lying in the hospital's farewell hall, covered head to toe with a pale white sheet. His eyes tightly shut. Among those who came, didn't even have time to glance at Wang Yuqing and Chen Tianyu standing nearby, sobbing uncontrollably. I threw myself at Chen Fei as tears streamed down my face. Darling, how could you leave me like this? What are Tianyu and I supposed to do if you abandon us? How heartless can you be? Seeing how devastated I was, Wang Yuqing and Chen Tianyu exchanged triumphant smiles, thinking victory was assured, but soon, their laughter died in their throats. I was so overwhelmed with grief that I started performing CPR on Chen Fei. My technique was all wrong, just brute force pounding away. Each compression made his ribcage creak ominously. From the sound of it, I'd probably cracked a couple of ribs. A few more compressions like that, and I might have finished him off for good. Chen Fei, you're not allowed to die. I'll save you. You will pull through. Chen Tianyu rushed over in a panic to stop me. Like hell I cared about any of that. With this golden opportunity, I'll beat that bastard to death. I shoved Chen Tianyu aside and swung my hand to slap Chen Fei across the face. Chen Fei, how heartless can you be? You're really abandoning me like this. I'll slap some sense into you. Open your eyes and look at me. Slap after slap rained down relentlessly. Wang Yuqing rushed over to stop me. Terrified I'd slap Chen Fei back to consciousness. I kept hitting until Chen Fei's pale face flushed crimson with bruises. Only when Wang Yuqing and Chen Tianyu restrained me together did I finally relent. Wang Yuqing blurted out, Ms. Liu, I completely understand how you must be feeling, but we should respect the departed. Let your husband rest in peace. You still have your son to care for. Focus on raising him well. You'll need your strength to help him build his future. Chen Tianyu quickly stepped forward and added, yeah, Mom, with Dad gone from drowning, you're all I've got now. College tuition, living expenses, and money for a house and car someday. Mom, you're my only lifeline now. You can't afford to collapse. Actually, I noticed the hospital has a toilet cleaning job that doesn't require education or experience. Maybe you could. I smacked Chen Tianyu square on the back of his head so hard my palm went numb. 3. The pain brought tears to Tianyu Chen's eyes. How dare you hit me? Even Yuqing Wang nearby immediately scolded. Are you out of your mind? Stop hitting the child. That just gave me the perfect excuse. I immediately snapped back at her. You're damn right I hit you. We haven't even figured out how your father died, and you're already bossing your mother around. Besides, this is my son. I'll discipline him however I see fit. Who the hell do you think you are? Just some nurse, telling me what to do. You think drowning explains everything. What if my husband was murdered? Don't take me for a fool. I've hired forensic experts. We'll conduct an autopsy right here to determine the cause of death. As soon as I opened the door, the forensic team and bodyguards who'd been waiting outside filed in one after another. They immediately prepared their tools for the autopsy. Wang Yuqing and Chen Tianyu visibly paled on the spot. They knew perfectly well whether Chen Fei was alive or dead. Never thought I'd have to bring in forensic experts. Wang Yuqing quickly forced an apologetic smile at me. Ms. Liu, rest assured, we're a hospital, we'd never deceive you. Besides, autopsy is disrespectful to the deceased. Just let your husband go peacefully. Chen Tianyu was also holding me back. Mom, how could you let them perform an autopsy on Dad? The hospital already issued the death certificate. What exactly are you still worried about? Cover him with the sheet already. Get these coroners out of here. Let Dad rest in peace. A bitter laugh rose inside me. Let him rest. He'll give me peace after what happened last time. I spun around and snapped at the medical examiner behind me. I'm the spouse. This is my call. Perform the autopsy right here. Now. Chen Tianyu and Wang Yuqing tried to intervene, but were forcibly restrained by my hired bodyguards. This isn't an autopsy at all. This is vivisection. If they start cutting, even a living person could end up carved into a corpse, but the two struggled helplessly, forced to watch as the lead forensic examiner raised the gleaming scalpel. A cold flash, the blade plunged straight toward Chen Fei's heart. It would slice through Chen Fei's flesh. Wang Yuqing struggled and roared. I lied. Chen Fei's still alive. The air in the farewell hall seemed to freeze instantly. After a long pause, I let out a soft chuckle. Wang Yuqing and Chen Tianyu turned disbelieving stares toward me, demanding, You knew all along and still let. I cast a disdainful glance their way before addressing the coroner and bodyguards with a smirk. Great work everyone. Your performance fees and service payments will be wired to your accounts shortly. For braving this torrential rain, I'll double your pay. The crowd gradually dispersed until only the four of us remained in the farewell hall. I glanced at Chen Fei's corpse under the white sheet and tilted my chin toward Wang Yuqing. Wake him up. this brilliant plan, Chen Fei's idea, wasn't it? Care to have a proper chat? The injection took effect. Chen Fei gradually came to, and upon seeing Wang Yuqing, he grabbed her hand excitedly and said, "Well, did that bitch buy it? Were you kneeling beside me in tears, swearing to provide for our Tianyu?" But the more Chen Fei spoke, the more Wang Yuqing's expression darkened. Until her gaze landed on me nearby and she jumped in shock. "Holy shit, what are you doing here?" Just as Chen Fei was completely baffled, Chen Tianyu suddenly spoke up to explain, "Dad, she already knows everything." Seeing me grinning triumphantly at him, Chen Fei threw caution to the wind, grabbing Wang Yuqing's hand while reassuring Chen Tianyu, "So what if they find out? At worst I'll divorce her. I've been wanting out of this marriage forever. The only reason I married her was because her family connections could give me a leg up. Did you really think it was for love?" Then, looking at me with scorn, "Your better half retired last month, didn't they? Since you found out, I'm done pretending with you. Let's file for divorce today." Chen Fei's words literally made me speechless with laughter. What does he think fake death is? Some kind of childish game? From the moment Wang Yuqing handed me that death certificate, there was no turning back for him. No need. "Didn't you know we're already divorced? Spousal death automatically terminates marital status." Chen Fei looked at me like I was an idiot. "Can't you see? I'm still alive. Don't even think about tricking me into staying married. After divorcing you, I'll head straight to the Civil Affairs Bureau to register with Yuqing. We'll throw the grandest wedding just to spite you. You still don't know, do you? Tianyu was never actually adopted." Following Chen Fei's triumphant gaze, I looked at Chen Tianyu, chin held high with pride. He stood up and walked over to Wang Yuqing before addressing me. "This is my real mother." Chen Tianyu stared at me eagerly. He was waiting to see my face twist in shock and heartbreak any second now. I just watched them blankly, numb to the core. It felt like watching an unfunny comedy show. How lovely, the family of three is reunited. Perfect in every way, except we can't be listed on the same household register. Chen Fei furrowed his brows, sensing something was off, tentatively asked me. I shook my head with a wry smile and tossed the copy of his household deregistration certificate in front of him. "What I'm saying is, while you're still breathing, legally speaking, you're already dead." Chen Fei, "Still haven't figured it out. Right now, you're a ghost citizen." Chen Fei's face instantly drained of color. Wang Yuqing immediately caught on beside me, pointing and yelling angrily, "You're the one who made me issue that death certificate. You had the household registration cancelled. What a vicious scheme you've concocted, woman." Chen Tianyu suddenly caught on and hastily added, "I knew there was something fishy about her being so late to the hospital. I arrived before her. She was setting us up all along." I tilted my head dismissively, completely brushing off their accusations. Said with genuine concern, "You could reinstate your identity, but Wang Yuqing who issued your death certificate would likely face prison time. Oh, by the way, forgot to mention that contract you signed before leaving wasn't a property agreement, it was an insurance policy. If you reclaim your identity, you'll be jailed for insurance fraud too. The amount's not huge though, just 25 years tops. When you two get married, I'll be sure to give you a wedding gift." With that, I grabbed my bag and walked out, leaving behind three pale-faced people staring at each other in shock. That very night, Chen Fei couldn't resist calling me, "Lu Yajing, what the hell are you trying to do?" After closing my account, I can't use Alipay, WeChat or any other apps. HR says there's suddenly an issue with my social security status. I can't even pay taxes properly. They gave me 3 days to fix this or I'm fired. You need to fix this right now. I burst out laughing and shot back at Chen Fei, "Just like you planned all along, making people's lives miserable. Besides, do you think I own the police station, that I can just snap my fingers to change official records?" My nonchalant attitude drove Chen Fei absolutely up the wall. "Just tell them you made a mistake or issued a fake death certificate. Get them to reinstate my household registration. Listen up, Lu Yajing. If you dare make my life hell, I'll make sure yours is worse." But I just laughed even louder. "What's all this barking about? Yes, undocumented trash," hung up abruptly without hesitation. I couldn't care less about Chen Fei's empty threats, for, after all these years of marriage, I know him inside out, a spineless bully who fears death above all. Right now he's probably throwing a tantrum at home, raging impotently about to smash his phone. Just as expected, Chen Fei could only vent his frustration on a throw pillow. Before he'd even hit it twice, a foul stench began wafting through the house, absolutely revolting. Following the smell led straight to Chen Tianyu's room. "Tianyu, what on earth happened here? Why is your room filled with trash? The whole place reeks." Chen Tianyu had just settled on the couch after ordering takeout when it suddenly hit him. "Holy shit. I forgot to clean up." I was gonna make that old hag tidy everything for me, but she went full menopause on me, throwing your razor at me, pissed me off so much I left the mess there. I'll just get mom to do it later. She's never cleaned my room my whole damn life. Chen Fei shot Chen Tianyu a dirty look, snapped irritably, go clean up your own damn mess. Your mom's pulling night shift tonight, her overtime pays all that's keeping this household afloat. Who has time to clean your room? Chen Tianyu had no choice. He could only pout reluctantly and clean the room while holding his nose. Sigh, if only that old woman were still around. Early the next morning, my phone started blowing up with calls. At first I thought it was just spam messages, but then the notifications kept coming nonstop. That's when I knew something was wrong. The moment I answered, a torrent of obscenities came blasting through the receiver. Fucking finally, the call went through. Lu Yajing, pay up. Your deadbeat husband owes me over $1 million. Stop playing dumb. He's dead but you're still breathing. As his wife, you're responsible for his debts, or I'll come smash your fucking house tomorrow. It finally dawned on me that Chen Fei's threat over the phone yesterday, making my life miserable, was referring to this, taking out loans under our joint marital name. But since he's already dead, creditors have no choice but to come after me for repayment. Last time around, he used this exact scheme to force me into slaving away to pay off over $1 million in his debts. It wasn't until he showed up with Wang Yuqing, smugly revealing the truth, that I realized the whole thing had been an elaborate con. Chen Fei deliberately set me up with a debt collection gang. They made me struggle month after month to repay debts, only for them to pocket all the money in the end. What's your cut? 30 to 70. Though Chen Fei's never that generous, more like 20 to 80, right? After squeezing money out of me, you two split it 20 to 80, for this one, 2 million IOU, you're getting a 240k commission, am I right? The person on the other end froze. They never expected I'd uncover the truth. In my past life, I'd struggled with this two debts die with the debtor, and rejecting inheritance means avoiding liabilities, but Chen Tianyu eventually convinced me, Mom, this house is Dad's last keepsake for us. If we give up half ownership, they'll definitely sue to force a sale and take half the money. This is our home, Mom, we can't lose our home, so I decided to take on over $1 million in debt to keep our home. Looking back now, I was being ridiculously naive. What Chen Tianyu really meant back then wasn't that he couldn't live without a home, it was that he couldn't live without that $1,000,000+ yuan. How did you know? I scoffed and replied, none of your business. Just letting you know, that trick won't work on me. Because I've already sold this house. Hearing this, Chen Fei snatched the phone and demanded incredulously, sold? How dare you sell our house behind our backs? I just snapped a photo of the sales contract and sent it over. The date's fresh, just yesterday afternoon. Because you're dead, that's why. I own half, your half, since you're deceased, goes to your spouse, children, or parents, but your parents passed years ago, so legally speaking, when the house sells for 2 million, I get 1.5, and Chen Tianyu gets 500,000. I'll have my lawyer transfer the money to Chen Tianyu later. Beep beep beep. Chen Fei was losing his mind. Never expected me to play such a masterstroke. Not only was his account terminated abruptly, but even his house got sold in record time. The person vanished without a trace. The only phone number I can reach them through could get blocked any minute. God knows what the hell I'm supposed to do now. Misfortunes never come singly. No sooner had the lawyer handed Chen Tianyu the bank card with 500,000 yuan than the new owners kicked them out. Wang Yuqing had been fantasizing that after driving me, the rightful mistress, away, she'd waltz right into that big house. Little did she expect to see Chen Fei and Chen Tianyu hauling their belongings instead. Barging into her rental apartment without hesitation, Wang Yuqing blew her top at Chen Fei the moment she heard about it. What's 500,000 gonna do? Can't even buy a decent home, won't cover rent for long either. Chen Fei, Tianyu's college tuition, living expenses, future home, car, plus our retirement fund. You think 500,000 can cover all that? Even if it were dollars, we'd burn through it. Chen Tianyu also pressured Chen Fei from the side. That's right, Dad, if this continues, we won't be able to make ends meet. At first, Chen Fei didn't think the matter was all that serious. If his old company let him go, he could always find another job. Even if he got blacklisted and couldn't land a full-time gig, surely part-time work wouldn't be out of reach. After all, he'd climbed to middle management before. Slumming it as a regular grunt now shouldn't be an issue, but reality slapped him hard across the face. 12 million college graduates enter the job market every year. Why would any company hire an unstable, unmotivated man pushing 50, getting picked over until the very end? Chen Fei only accepted the job out of sheer financial desperation, working like crazy only to earn less than half of Wang Yuqing's income. Wang Yuqing only married Chen Fei for an easy life. Now the tables have turned, he's living off her instead. The more she looked at Chen Fei, the more everything about him irritated her. Yuqing, is there any food left at home? I've been swamped tonight and didn't even have time to eat. Wang Yuqing had just returned from her night shift, utterly exhausted. When Chen Fei posed his question, the pent-up anger inside her instantly erupted. Like hell there is. Let me make this clear. I'm not some housewife like Lu Yajing. I've got work to do. Gotta earn money to support this family. How dare you ask if there's food at home when you're never around? What kind of useless man are you? Chen Fei was seething inside, getting chewed out by bosses half his age at work, then coming home to his wife snagging. Am I the only one struggling here? I've been working overtime every day at this hour. It's not easy for me either. And let's be honest, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have lost my job or had to give up my household registration. To keep you out of jail, I've had to work like an undocumented migrant. I can't believe you're treating me like this. I'm beyond disappointed. Wang Yuqing's fury burned even hotter after hearing this. To keep me out of jail, cut the righteous act. Chen Fei, your noble words don't fool me. If we reinstate your household registration at the station, they'll investigate and you'll end up behind bars too. Don't pretend this is for my sake. You're saving your own skin. This is my place. I'm the one paying rent here. If I disgust you so much, get out. Let's see who'd rent to a man without valid ID once I'm gone. You can't even check into hotels. You'll be homeless. The argument escalated rapidly as Chen Fei and Wang Yuqing kept trading increasingly heated words. In the end, Chen Fei stormed out, slamming the door behind him. Wang Yuqing's hysterical screams still followed him. Go ahead, if you've got the guts. Never come back. You're living off me, eating my food. And you dare talk back? What a piece of trash, worthless, disgusting. Chen Fei had been a manager at the company for years, and with me as a full-time housewife catering to his every need at home, he'd never been treated this way before. Anger gave way to bitter regret. With the last bit of cash he had left, he bought 2 bottles of liquor at the convenience store. He drank himself into a stupor. Chen Fei began reminiscing about the days we spent together, simple, warm, and blissful. Lost in thought, he started bombarding me with calls. Yajing, I miss you so much. Back when I'd come home drunk, you'd take care of me, wiping my face, keeping food warm. I keep thinking, if none of those things had happened between us, with Tianyu still here, we'd be living happily together right now. Yajing, I miss you so damn much. The slurred voice of a drunken man came through the phone. He can't possibly think he's being romantic. Back then, he wouldn't even give me the time of day. That small-town social climber looked down on me while still riding my coattails. Such a walking contradiction. Now that nobody's waiting on him hand and foot, he's nostalgic for his glory days. Chen Fei barely got 2 words out before I hung up on him. With nowhere else to go, he stumbled back to Wang Yuqing's rental reeking of alcohol. The conflict erupted once again. The argument escalated into a complete mess. The tension at home kept mounting, and Chen Fei's work started suffering too. After getting scolded for several days straight, he set his sights on Chen Tianyu's 500,000 yuan. Tianyu, lend Dad that 500,000 yuan for now. Dad wants to start his own business. Chen Tianyu gave his washed-up father a once-over. He shot him down without hesitation. Get lost. I'm saving that 500 grand for college. You're undocumented and barely making ends meet. Forget starting a business. You can't even get a business license. Hearing his once-beloved son speak to him with such contempt, Chen Fei's heart twisted with bitter disappointment. But with circumstances forcing his hand, he could only reply meekly. The next instant, Tianyu, your father's got no choice here. If it weren't for giving you a better life, would I have sunk this low? Just consider it sponsoring your old man. Hand over the money. I promise I'll pay you back before school starts. But Chen Tianyu wasn't buying it, his face stone cold as he refused. No way. I've already made plans to hang out with friends this summer. If I lend you the money, what am I supposed to do? No, screw your plans. Is having fun more important than your own father? They were clearly not on the same page. Chen Fei and Chen Tianyu started arguing within minutes of speaking. 5. Money talks and family dynamics. Chen Tianyu wasn't intimidated by Chen Fei's outburst. With a dark expression, he physically shoved him out of the room. I refuse to have a useless father like you. Don't take me for a fool. You're pushing 50, calling it starting a business when really the job market's written you off. Can't even help me buy property or a car. And worst of all, I'll probably end up supporting you. How dare you scheme for my 500 grand, get the hell out of here before I lose my temper. I know, Chen Fei's pride took another blow. How did it come to this? Why did things turn out this way? The reason I faked my death was because living with you stripped me of all dignity. Every time I saw your face, I'd remember how I groveled and begged to marry you back then. Never imagined life could sink 10 times lower than rock bottom. Wang Yuqing looked down on him with open contempt. Now even his own son was turning away from him. Chen Fei descended into alcoholism. He drowned himself in alcohol every day to escape reality, and I stopped answering his harassing calls altogether. Disgusted by his hopeless drunken state, Wang Yuqing locked him out of their home. Chen Fei ended up sleeping in the hallway until security mistook him for a homeless man and chased him away. That was until he heard somewhere that a paternity test could verify his identity and help him restore his household registration at the police station, so he secretly collected Chen Tianyou's hair sample for DNA testing. But this move led to disaster. Paternity excluded. Those glaring red words left Chen Fei speechless with shock. That meant Chen Tianyou wasn't Chen Fei's son after all. Not only has he been raising another man's child for 18 years, but this bastard offspring has also ruined his life. Blinded by rage, Chen Fei stormed into the hospital to make a scene. He demanded an explanation from Wang Yuqing. Chen Fei strode up and slapped Wang Yuqing across the face, twice. He slapped her to the ground, kicking and punching while hurling abuse. You fucking whore, if I hadn't found out. How much longer were you gonna keep lying to me, you worthless bitch? Chen Tianyou isn't even my blood. What right does he have to take my $500,000? What fucking right? It's you and your bastard son who ruined me. I used to be a top official, and now look at me, living like a sewer rat, always hiding. Seeing him in this deranged state, Wang Yuqing had finally had enough and immediately started shouting back. That wasn't your choice. You're pathetic. You had to cling to me, stringing me along all these years without commitment. I couldn't even see my own son openly. And now I'm stuck watching you drunkenly stumbling around the house like worthless trash. You think I don't despise you? Damn it. The only reason anyone put up with your sorry ass was your fucking money, moron. If I'll be your mistress, I can damn well be someone else's too. Their argument quickly escalated into physical violence. Hospital staff inevitably called the police, and Chen Fei, blinded by rage, spilled everything without holding back. I'd rather rot in jail than keep living this stray dog's life. Just as he wished, the police promptly arrested Chen Fei and Wang Yuqing. When someone who'd been declared dead with a massive insurance payout miraculously came back to life. The insurance company caught on immediately. Not being greedy, I voluntarily returned the compensation money right away. Since I was an unwitting participant in the insurance fraud, I wasn't involved in the trial. Wang Yuqing was sentenced to 3 years in prison for forging death certificates and misusing hospital seals. Chen Fei faced charges for insurance fraud and scams. But since I ultimately returned the insurance payout, he avoided the harshest penalty. He still got sentenced to 10 years. Even behind bars, Chen Fei sued Chen Tianyou and clawed back that 500,000 yuan, broke, and with both parents incarcerated, Chen Tianyou later discovered he was adopted, left with no options. He circled back to me, his bargain bin mother. Mom, I was wrong. Dad's locked up. You're all I have left now. I swear, you'll be the only mother I'll ever acknowledge. I'll take care of you when you're old. I promise to treat you right. I'm about to start college soon. Could you maybe? I snorted. Genuinely impressed by Chen Tianyou's shamelessness. No, don't call me mom. It makes me sick. It's not like you're motherless, just fatherless. Your fake dad's in prison, and your real one died young. Instead of wasting time, figure out how to pay your tuition. Click. I hung up abruptly and immediately blocked Chen Tianyou across all platforms. Spoiled rotten at home. He couldn't handle 2 days of summer jobs workload and petty humiliations before retreating to his couch. But even couch surfing requires cash. Broke and unable to reach me, Chen started scheming until stumbling upon those suspiciously high-paying Southeast Asian job postings online, then vanished into thin air. It wasn't until later, when I was living abroad, I received a phone call from Chen Tianyou. Mom, save me. Can you wire me 500,000 yuan to meet my quota? Otherwise they'll beat me with electric batons, throw me into a water dungeon, and feed me to crocodiles. I chuckled softly and replied. I told you not to call me mom. Disgusting. A piece of trash like you. Even crocodiles would spit you out. Transfer 500k. I'll burn you 500k in hell money. Much faster. I wasn't finished. The receiver erupted with the sickening thuds of wood striking flesh, punctuated by Chen Tianyou's agonized screams. The call was abruptly terminated. I smiled faintly. Gazing at the picturesque landscape surrounding my temporary abode, I ejected the worn-out SIM card and replaced it with a fresh one. then let out a long, deep sigh. In my past life, I was a wife, a mother, so consumed by roles that I forgot to pause and simply be myself. This time around, I live solely for me. Story 2. The young master of the Xia family in Wangjing, a paragon of elegance and handsomeness, had nothing to do with me. However, one day, he suddenly grabbed my sleeve, his eyes red-rimmed. It's not too late, we haven't divorced yet, in this life. Let's start anew. I was gnawing on a marinated pig's trotter and was taken aback. But I'm not planning to marry you either. 1. Xiaoyu was a flawless jade, a man coveted by many. He was the ideal husband that countless young ladies yearned for, including my elder sister by birth, Chen Jingxian. She said that young Master Xia would surely rise to a high position in the court in the future, and she was determined to strive for him. But Xiaoyu had a cold and aloof demeanor, sparing no kind words for anyone. One day, my elder sister accidentally fell into the water. When she woke up, she suddenly slapped me and said, "You infatuated fool, don't like Xiaoyu, and don't marry him." I stared at her in bewilderment. You can scold yourself if you want, but why hit me? Besides, it's not like I can marry Xiaoyu just because I want to. The Xia family was an aristocratic family that had endured for centuries. A family of great wealth and influence. Even a princess might not be able to marry into it. Before I could regain my senses, my step-mother had dragged my elder sister out and whipped her. "How dare you hit your sister? I think you've lost your mind. Your sister hasn't even been betrothed yet." My elder sister suddenly burst into laughter. Good, this is wonderful." She laughed until tears streamed down her face. She got up, her clothes still wet, and hugged me. "It's truly the heaven's blessing that my Azu hasn't been betrothed yet, in this life. I won't let you marry that scoundrel again." 2. My elder sister pulled me and our step-mother into the room, dismissed the servants, and after taking a deep breath, she began to tell her story. She said she was reborn. In her previous life, I tripped during a banquet and fell directly into Xiaoyu's arms. One look at Xiaoyu, and you could see his grace and charm, his eyebrows and eyes as beautiful as a painting. He instinctively caught me, and we spun around on the spot. Then we both landed on the ground, with me on top of him. Xiaoyu didn't have a heartbeat, heart flutter, referring to a feeling of being attracted. Neither did I, but Xiaoyu's mother did. When she saw me knock Xiaoyu to the ground, she thought I was sturdy. I was plump, with a round face and big hips, which made me seem fertile. The Xia family had a single-line inheritance, and concubines were not allowed. The family had a sparse population, so she overruled all objections and proposed marriage to our family. 7 years after we got married, Xiaoyu gave me a divorce letter. He said he didn't have romantic feelings for me. Hearing this, I nodded. Well, that's about what I expected. I and Xiaoyu really didn't seem like a couple who could live together harmoniously. My step-mother suddenly asked, "Did Azu have children?" My elder sister was silent for a moment and then said, "Yes, 3 children. And they all stayed in the Xia family." Shocked, the marinated pig's trotter in my hand dropped onto my elder sister's skirt. The new skirt immediately became greasy and fragrant. Instead of blaming me, my elder sister gently held my not-so-small head. 3 children, let's not talk about them. In the end, under the strict gazes of my step-mother and elder sister, I knelt down and swore that in this life, I would rather marry a pig than marry Xiaoyu. And I would rather go through menopause than give birth to any more children. 3. In the following months, my elder sister took me everywhere with her, avoiding all places where Xiaoyu might appear, but I thought she was overthinking. There was a huge gap between me and Xiaoyu. The young master of the Xia family was a close aide to the emperor, a favored son of heaven, referring to a very outstanding person. And I was a half-legitimate daughter of the Chen family, plain-looking, lazy, and fond of good food. In the past, when we met at banquets, he was always in the spotlight and never looked at me in the corner. Besides, it had been 7 years, and Xiaoyu had said he didn't like me, even if we ran into each other. So what? My elder sister said meaningfully, "You're young and don't understand. Although he doesn't like you, it doesn't stop him from sleeping with you for 7 years. When she said this, she snorted, showing more and more disgust towards Xiaoyu. If he was also reborn, there's a good chance he would harm you again. The matter of being reborn wasn't like growing a pound of meat. It couldn't happen whenever one wanted, and not everyone had this chance. At that time, I scoffed at this idea. On the way, we met some noble ladies who we didn't get along with before. My elder sister, contrary to her usual self, greeted them with a smile. After those noble ladies left, my elder sister sighed. A lifetime is like a big dream. They're all poor souls. But when she heard that a cousin of the Xia family had sent his daughter here, her face darkened. That family was from Jiangnan, and their family fortune had declined, they had the nerve to send their unmarried daughter to the capital, hoping to secure a good marriage. The girl named Shinqingji was delicate and frail, but her back was straight, as if she had an unyielding spirit, and she looked particularly pitiful. Xiaoyu's mother, being kind-hearted, kept her. My elder sister rolled her eyes but didn't say anything. I wasn't interested in asking either. The spring days were long and the spring scenery was delightful. The good days passed quickly, in a blink of an eye. It was the day my elder sister had been dreading, the Empress Dowager's birthday banquet. I tied a silk ribbon around my waist, and the other end was tightly held by my elder sister. She watched the water clock, calculating the time when I and Xiaoyu had bumped into each other in the previous life. After a while, she let out a long sigh of relief. It seemed that the time had passed. I was really suffocating. The silk ribbon that bound my waist and abdomen was untied. I went to the toilet. And at the corner, I saw a person. The gentleman was as beautiful as jade, so good-looking that it made people forget everything. The moment he saw me, his eyes showed a moment of daze. When I passed by him, he called out to me, "Chenanju, do you love me so much that you can't even look at me?" I turned back in confusion and met the eyes of that young master. He frowned and said, "Why are you pretending with me? You've deliberately avoided meeting me several times. Isn't it because you don't want to see me like in the previous life? Unfortunately, you didn't get what you wanted." Hearing these words, I suddenly realized, so, this was Xiaoyu. He looked like a celestial being. My elder sister was wrong. It wasn't him who slept with me for 7 years, but me who slept with him for 7 years. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Xiaoyu's voice turned colder. "Do you avoid me like a snake or a scorpion? You don't even want to say a word to me." His clenched hands had whitened knuckles, and his sharp eyes landed on me, filled with dissatisfaction. I really needed to pee, bro, and my elder sister didn't allow me to talk to him. I turned and ran, leaving Xiaoyu behind. He said, "Chenanju, we were husband and wife. Even if I've wronged you, can't we even be friends?" His figure was slender and upright. Standing there, he seemed a bit aggrieved. I really didn't understand what he was up to. Did he really want to be friends with me that much? After returning to the banquet, I truthfully reported the encounter with Xiaoyu. My elder sister crushed the wine cup, sneering. Her murderous gaze penetrated the curtain separating the men's and women's seating areas. On the other side of the curtain, not far away, was a figure in white. It was not difficult to tell that it was Xiaoyu. I buried my head in eating, not daring to breathe. After the banquet had gone on for a while, a woman arrived late. She was as delicate as a willow in the wind. With a graceful bow, she made the men's seating area quiet for a moment. She introduced herself. It was Shinqingji, the cousin of the Xia family. She was very good at talking and soon won the praise of several noble ladies. Everyone praised her as a talented woman. Shinqingji quickly said, "When it comes to learning, I can't compare to my cousin at all. I haven't seen my cousin in these days. I've heard in Jiangnan that my cousin is extremely learned and is a rare man in the world. I've always admired him. If I could just see him." Her voice was clear and unhurried. Behind the curtain, the figure in white paused in the action of raising the wine cup. Obviously, these words had reached Xiaoyu's ears. My elder sister snorted, putting on an act. Suddenly, an idea flashed in my mind. Could it be that she was the reason for my divorce from Xiaoyu? 5. This guess was further confirmed when Xiaoyu stopped me and my elder sister. He said, "Chenanju, did you make things difficult for Shinqingji just now?" "I've already said it has nothing to do with her." Before I could speak, my elder sister had pulled me behind her. She was an excellent actress, and her performance was flawless. With a look of 3/10 confusion, 3/10 anger, 3/10 protectiveness, and 1/10 fear on her face, she said, "Young Master Xia, how can you directly call my sister by her given name? My sister hasn't gotten married yet. What if her reputation is ruined because of this?" Xiaoyu was taken aback. He had come in a hurry and only then realized that this was not the previous life. His eyes lingered on my face several times, but he could only see the expression of "What on earth is this person doing? Please respect yourself, young Master Xia." With that, my elder sister was about to pull me away. Xiaoyu instinctively reached out to grab my sleeve. I jumped 3 feet away and fled to the other side of my elder sister, hiding behind her like a chick behind an old hen. Xiaoyu's face instantly stiffened. "Do you dislike me touching you so much?" I nodded firmly without hesitation. Xiaoyu said with a sullen face, "Then those 7 years, sharing the same bed with me, must have been really hard on you." As soon as he finished speaking, my elder sister slapped him across the face. My elder sister said furiously, "Absurd, young Master Xia, if you continue to slander my sister's reputation like this, I will definitely sue you at the yamen." Xiaoyu's head tilted to one side. Presumably, my elder sister had used all her strength without holding back. Before Xiaoyu could react, my elder sister and I had taken the opportunity to leave. After this incident, Xiaoyu seemed to believe that I wasn't reborn. He sent someone to our house to apologize and present a gift, saying that he had drunk too much that day and his mind was muddled. The gift was a jade bracelet worth 1,000 gold. As expected of the young master of the Xia family, Xiaoyu was really generous, but my elder sister said, "Bad luck. In the previous life, you gave birth to 3 sons for him, and he never gave you anything." He also said that as the mistress of the Xia family, there were special people to buy you any jewelry you wanted. So he didn't need to give you anything, but then he turned around and bought a lot of things for that cousin. Now he's just pretending. I had someone pawn the bracelet and exchange it for silver. This way, it wasn't bad luck anymore. A few days later, Xiaoyu invited me to meet him again, saying he wanted to apologize in person. Naturally, I didn't agree. My elder sister said, "We've accepted young Master Xia's gift. There's no need for an in-person apology. Let this matter pass." But Xiaoyu didn't give up. Perhaps he wanted to confirm whether I was reborn or not. When he came to our house again, my elder sister refused to let him in the door. He said, "Miss Chen, II, I sincerely want to apologize. Could you please give me the honor of seeing you?" My elder sister shouted, "Young Master Xia, my sister already has someone she likes and has no intention of seeing you. If you continue to affect my sister's reputation for innocence." Xiaoyu's voice suddenly stopped, afraid that he wouldn't believe it. My elder sister continued, "That person will come to propose marriage soon. Young Master Xia, please leave quickly." Outside the door, it was quiet for a long time. 6. Before leaving, Xiaoyu said, "There's no need to make up such an excuse. If Miss Chen, II, doesn't want to see me, that's fine. I owe you. In the future, if you need any help, I will do my best." This of course didn't refer to those few offensive words a few days ago. It referred to the 7 years in the previous life. After that day, Xiaoyu didn't show up again. My elder sister still wasn't at ease. She dragged our step-mother and really started to look for a man for me. At the same time, in the tea house, people were talking about Xiaoyu and Shen Qingji. Shen Qingji was being molested by hooligans, and by chance, Xiaoyu passed by and saved the beauty. Shen Qingji was so moved that she shed tears and presented him with poems. Xiaoyu pitied the beauty, and in the following days, the two of them were seen together everywhere, attending banquets. As for me, I had met several men one after another, but I didn't take a fancy to any of them. My elder sister, not giving up, asked me what was wrong with them. I couldn't say exactly, but I said they weren't as important as a marinated pig's trotter. Perhaps it was just a matter of not having a connection. After thinking for a few days, my elder sister sent someone to Jiangnan to find a man surnamed Wei. She said that Wei Nanting would come to Wangjing to take the imperial examination and pass it several years later. After I got divorced and lived alone, he happened to live next door and took good care of me. She said that at that time, she had gone to a foreign land with her husband's family and didn't know the details of what happened between me and Wei Nanting. His family background is a bit humble, but if you really like him, I will help you. I replied lackadaisically. I thought he must be a poor scholar, but when the person was really brought in front of me, I was so shocked that my jaw dropped. The meeting place was in a pavilion in the middle of a lake. The person who came was 9 feet tall, wearing a short-sleeved shirt. His exposed arms were muscular, his back was broad, and his waist was narrow. He had a dark and honest smiling face, and when he smiled, a row of shiny white teeth showed. My elder sister, seeing my stunned look, added, "The #1 martial arts scholar." After my elder sister said this, she gracefully left, leaving me stunned. The atmosphere suddenly became awkward. After a while, Wei Nanting pointed at the empty plate and spoke. He stammered but said something astonishing. "Miss Chen, II, you can really eat. You're amazing." It was the first time someone had praised me like this. I smiled shyly. "Thank you, I think so too." I wanted to grab another piece of pastry but found the plate empty. I withdrew my hand in embarrassment. I drank some tea, touched my bracelet, and then touched my hairpin. Suddenly, a pearl on my hairpin rolled down. I watched as it rolled into the lake. Before I could react, Wei Nanting jumped into the water without hesitation. The sound of him falling into the water was like a huge stone cannonball. The water splashed all over my face. The maidservant panicked and went to find someone. I leaned over the lake, shouting Wei Nanting. Not long after, a hand with distinct joints emerged from the water, firmly grasping the bank. With a whoosh, Wei Nanting emerged from the water like a black fish. He almost bumped into me, who was staring at the lake. His short-sleeved shirt had come loose, and water droplets flowed from his sharp jaw. His bulging pectoral muscles and well-defined abdominal muscles rose and fell slightly. Somehow, it made one blush. I quickly said, "It's okay if you can't find it. I have a lot of hairpins." Wei Nanting laughed, like a dog asking for praise. He opened his palm, and there was the small pearl. "Here you are." My mind went blank. Like a roasted suckling pig exploded in my head. I stared at him dumbly. He seemed more attractive than a marinated pig's trotter. Time seemed to stand still. The maidservants looked on from a distance, not disturbing us. It was at this moment that Xiaoyu appeared. 7 Xiaoyu, awakening from a dream in the rain on the plantain. Thunder rumbled. Xiaoyu suddenly woke up. He covered his chest, listening to the rain outside. He had dreamed of his previous life. He had proposed a divorce. Chenanju didn't pester him. He heaved a sigh of relief. The day after the divorce, he went to pay his respects to his mother as usual, but his mother didn't see him. She was still angry. She had liked Chenanju as a daughter-in-law, but since Xiaoyu had decided on the divorce, it must have been something he had thought about for a long time. With no room for change, Shen Qingji called him over. She was more tender and affectionate than ever, with a blushing face, delicate makeup, and charming eyes. Xiaoyu's heart stirred slightly. But due to his busy official duties, he didn't stay long. He and Shen Qingji were innocent. He had said this to Chenanju when he proposed the divorce. They were confidants, friends, not an assorted relationship. Chenanju's elder sister, Chen Jingxian, had specially written a letter to scold him and Shen Qingji. When the servant delivered the letter to him, he opened it and took a look. The whole letter was full of swear words. And the handwriting was so forceful that it seemed as if it wasn't written by a person who had been ill for a long time. A month after the divorce, Chenanju still hadn't shown up. Xiaoyu had already gotten used to such a life, except that once, when he was changing clothes, he subconsciously called out Chenanju. Naturally, no one responded, and the maidservant didn't dare to either. In the second year after the divorce, Xiaoyu suddenly thought of Chenanju again. This was the 5th time he had thought of her this month. Not much, but it was only the 2nd day of this month. The dishes on the table were very light. This was his dietary preference, different from Chenanju's love for rich and greasy food, not only in diet, but in many other aspects. He and Chenanju were different. They were completely not a match. He frowned and said, "Why is there no marinated pig's trotter? Chenanju won't be able to get enough to eat like this." As soon as he said this, he was stunned himself, just at this moment. The servant said that Shen Qingji was asking to see him. Xiaoyu subconsciously said, "What does she want?" The servant was a bit puzzled. In the past, whenever Miss Shen came to see Xiaoyu, she didn't need to give a reason, and Xiaoyu would let her in. The servant quickly said, "I'll go and ask Miss Shen." Xiaoyu waved his hand. "Don't ask, let her go. I'm too busy to see her." These days, Shen Qingji came every 3 days. Naturally, it was nothing important. Either she came to discuss poetry with him or to care about him to add clothes when it was cold, a beauty adding fragrance to the study, gentle and considerate. If he were to remarry, it should be a woman like her, not someone like Chenanju. He had thought this way before he proposed the divorce, and of course, he still thought so now. When he went out, he heard someone gossiping. The young widow on East Street got married again. Xiaoyu stopped in his tracks. How could a widow get married again? He had never thought that Chenanju might remarry. That night, he finally couldn't help but send someone to inquire about Chenanju's recent situation. The servant who came back to report said that Chenanju was no longer in Wangjing. The eldest daughter of the Chen family, who had been living in seclusion in Qingzhou to recuperate for many years, passed away 3 months ago. The second daughter of the Chen family went to mourn. Her neighbor said that the second daughter of the Chen family has no intention of coming back, and she didn't leave alone. Xiaoyu broke the writing brush. She wouldn't come back. That night, he sat until dawn. He couldn't figure it out. Why was Chenanju so heartless? Heartless enough to not come and see him even once for so long. Heartless enough to abandon even her 3 sons. Just leave with someone else like this. No matter how much she hated him. She was the mother of the children and shouldn't be so cold-hearted. It was all a dream. Fortunately, it was just a dream of the previous life. He wouldn't delay Chenanju anymore. And Chenanju wouldn't hate him either. He didn't believe that Chenanju wasn't reborn. If she wasn't, why would she avoid meeting him again and again? Of course, he had also avoided her unconsciously, with the emotional foundation of the previous life. Although they couldn't be husband and wife, they could be friends, or confidants, just like he and Shen Qingji in the dream. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but curl his lips. The words confidant and Chenanju seemed to have nothing to do with each other. But he was a bit greedy for the way she quietly listened to him while stuffing food into her mouth. Presumably, being confidants and friends with her would be a good experience, but why did he always want to seek her out? The plantain leaf swayed, tick-tock. The rain fell until dawn. At dawn, he decided to look for Chenanju. 8. The blush on my face hadn't dissipated yet. When Xiaoyu saw Wei Nanting, anger suddenly rose in his eyes. He said resentfully, "In the previous life, when I proposed the divorce, you didn't hesitate at all. Did you already have someone else in your heart?" Xiaoyu's eyes were red, as if he had suffered a great deal of emotional pain. But my elder sister had clearly told me that it was he who had fallen in love with someone else. Xiaoyu had married me not out of love. He thought I didn't know how to play the qin, chess, calligraphy, or painting, and couldn't compose poems with him. In the first 2 years, every time we had sex, he looked as if he was going to war, with a very ugly expression. Fortunately, later, he seemed to get used to it. Or perhaps he became addicted to it. Xiaoyu and I had 3 sons. In contrast, Shen Qingji was different from me. She seemed to be a wife tailor-made for him, meeting all his expectations. According to my elder sister, I was infatuated with Xiaoyu. The first time I saw Xiaoyu and Shen Qingji drinking under the moon, I sensed something was wrong. Xiaoyu didn't explain anything to me. After the first time, there were the second, third, countless times, sometimes in the plum garden outside the city, sometimes in the poetry club, in short, all elegant places. They were confidants, smiling at each other. They might not have gone that far yet, so, when Xiaoyu proposed the divorce to me, he was very righteous. He said he hadn't done anything to betray me, and neither had Shen Qingji. The 2 of them were innocent. It was just that he had discovered his true feelings and didn't love me. My 3 sons said that Aunt Shen was more like a lady of a big family than me, and I was really too vulgar. Just like that, I signed the divorce agreement. The day I left the Xia family, no one saw me off. When I heard this, I was very shocked. I couldn't imagine that I would fall in love with someone like Xiaoyu. Could it be that feelings are developed through sleeping together? Then this time, I'll never sleep with him again. At this moment, Xiaoyu still wanted to say something, but I grabbed Wei Nanting and ran. My elder sister said that I could only interact with Xiaoyu in her presence, since she wasn't there. I naturally couldn't talk to Xiaoyu. Wei Nanting might look big and strong, but he was very obedient and didn't ask a single question. As we ran, he carried me on his shoulder. I pointed the way, and he ran in that direction. I took a moment to look back at Xiaoyu. He was standing there alone, like a discarded dog. Back at the Chen family, my elder sister asked Wei Nanting, "What do you think of my Azu?" Wei Nanting's dark face turned red, looking rustic yet handsome. "Miss Chen, the second is the best." My elder sister nodded in satisfaction and then carefully questioned him for a long time. She confirmed that he was an orphan, with a clean background, no childhood betrothed wife, no childhood sweetheart, no cousin, and no first love. I was dumbfounded. After getting a satisfactory answer, my elder sister asked Wei Nanting, "In the future, I will use Azu's pocket money to support you. After you pass the imperial examination with honors, you must repay her 1,000 times or even 100 times, whether it's with silver or something else. You two can discuss it yourself." As she spoke, she ordered someone to bring a contract. Before I could react, Wei Nanting had signed and sealed it. After Wei Nanting left, I finally summoned the courage to say, "Sister, I didn't. Ever since he came, you've even forgotten to eat the steamed buns with preserved vegetable and pork filling. What else do I not understand?" I twisted my handkerchief and said, "I just think he's big and strong, with a crispy outer layer. He seems to be very delicious. Could this be the feeling of being in love?" Then in Wei Nanting's eyes, "Am I like a white, flour-steamed bun?" My elder sister left with an indescribable expression. 9. I thought that someone as aloof-looking as Xiaoyu would stop coming after I ignored him, but unexpectedly, he was a bit like a lingering ghost. After my elder sister was reborn, she was very busy, but she no longer focused on needlework, household management, or poetry, qin, and chess. She said that life was only a few decades, and learning these things was a waste of life. She hoarded food, helped children, and also funded a caravan to search for various rare medicinal herbs. My father had some objections at first, but after a long talk with my step-mother and elder sister, he no longer interfered. As for my elder sister's marriage, according to her, in the previous life, she had married the young master of the Wan family. That person, as she had expected, later became a high-ranking official of the 3rd rank. The Wang family came to propose marriage just like in the previous life. I peeked at him from behind the screen. My former brother-in-law was handsome, tall, and learned, but for some reason, my elder sister didn't agree this time. My father politely declined. saying that he still wanted to keep my elder sister by his side for 2 more years. The young master of the Wan family was a bit surprised when he heard this. Before, although my elder sister had her eyes on Xiaoyu, she knew the truth of not putting all her eggs in one basket. Xiaoyu was like the moon in the sky, and it was very likely that she couldn't get him. This young master of the Wan family was my elder sister's first choice. Naturally, the young master of the Wan family didn't only have contact with my elder sister. When he left, there was some reluctance in his eyes. The next day, he invited my elder sister to meet him. My elder sister burned his letter and asked the servant to convey a message. Just say that I'm too busy to see him. Young Master Wang is a smart person and will naturally understand my meaning. I asked my elder sister if the young master of the Wan family had done something to betray her in the previous life. Unexpectedly, my elder sister shook her head. He didn't do anything to betray me. He gave me the status of a principal wife. He didn't take a concubine until 5 years after I failed to conceive, and he never doted on the concubine and mistreated the wife. It's just that. My elder sister curled the corners of her mouth into a smile. It's just that later I got sick. And he didn't hesitate to send me to Qingzhou to recuperate, and he didn't delay in taking a secondary wife. He really didn't do anything to betray me. He just took every step that was most beneficial to him. Since ancient times, men have seemed to be born knowing that at what time they should make what choices that are beneficial to themselves. I didn't have as many emotions as my elder sister. I only heard the key word, she got sick. My birth mother died in childbirth, and since I was born, I was registered under my step-mother's name. It was said that my birth mother was once my father's childhood sweetheart. Some people gossiped that my step-mother would surely ruin me, but if I could lie in bed for a lifetime, it was something many people couldn't even dream of. If I were more diligent and hard-working, I would just change from being Mrs. Zhang Chen to Mrs. Li Chen or Mrs. Xia Chen, bearing fruits for others and letting others pick them. Since I was young, my elder sister had protected me. I didn't have big ambitions and was already very content. I cried loudly, burying my face in my elder sister's sleeve. My elder sister said, "What are you crying for? It's not an incurable disease. Do you not know whether I married Wei Nanting because you died early?" My elder sister didn't expect me to be so smart and was immediately speechless. In the end, she compromised and said that this life she would definitely take good care of herself and not get sick again. I blew my nose on her sleeve and looked at her accusingly. She coaxed me for a long time and finally reluctantly took me to the largest restaurant in Wangjing. After a full meal, she took me to pick jewelry. I wore a peony-shaped hairpin and then, reluctantly, put on a smile again. Do I look good? As soon as I turned around, I saw Xiaoyu. 10. Xiaoyu's eyes landed on my face. Today, he was wearing a plain white long gown, with a jade crown on his head, and his jet black hair was neatly combed. He looked more refined and handsome than the previous 2 times I saw him. After a moment of daze, surprise, and pride appeared in his eyes. "Chenanju, no matter how hard you try, I won't marry you this life." Before he could finish speaking, I bumped into him and said, "You're in the way." He staggered from being hit by me but didn't get angry. He looked at me with some helplessness, as if he thought I was throwing a tantrum because I had lost face. My elder sister pulled me to her side, sneered, and glanced at Xiaoyu coldly. "Young Master Xia, we have something to do. We'll take our leave first." My elder sister didn't want to pay attention to him and pulled me away, but looking at Xiaoyu, for some reason, a sudden burst of anger rose in my heart. Why could he be reborn with my elder sister? The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. Finally, in Xiaoyu's astonished eyes, I punched him in the face. Xiaoyu staggered and fell like a white butterfly. His hand landed on the broken teacup, and blood immediately appeared, but he seemed not to notice, just looking at me in disbelief. "Chenanju, how could you hit me?" What answered him was my next heavy punch. The emotions that had just been soothed by my elder sister exploded like a boiling boiler. Why, my elder sister died young, and what about him? Did he live to be 70 or 80 with the 3 children? I usually ate a lot and was also very active. I wasn't just fat for nothing. I straddled Xiaoyu and punched him with all my strength. Soon, Xiaoyu didn't have the energy to speak. The servants of the Xia family were blocked outside the crowd by my elder sister and the maidservants. After a long time, my elder sister came to pull me up. Okay. Young Master Xia didn't mean it either. I stood up and left. Xiaoyu called my name with difficulty. He had a black and blue face, his hair was messy, and he looked extremely miserable, but I had to say that he had a good-looking face, and at this moment, he had a unique charm. Unfortunately, I didn't like such a skinny and dry-looking person. "Chenanju, do you hate me so much because you still love me?" "It's just hatred born from love. I turned around and kicked him. I don't know you well. Xiaoyu blinked when he heard this. Looking at me with a smile, as if he had seen through my tough talk, my elder sister sized him up and sneered. She said, "Young Master Xia, have you received the letter I sent from Qingzhou?" Xiaoyu was stunned for a moment and then suddenly widened his eyes. He was so intelligent that he naturally understood. It was my elder sister who was reborn, not me. Only then did he confirm that I wasn't the Mrs. Xia Chen who had spent 7 years with him. Not the Chen Anju who had given birth to 3 sons for him. Now we were just 2 strangers. I was only annoyed by his harassment. My elder sister and I walked a long way, and Xiaoyu was still sitting on the ground in a daze. 11. That night, I had a very strange dream. In the dream, I got married. The small sedan chair swayed all the way to the Xia family. The young master of the Xia family was as elegant as an orchid. With a bright future, all the women envied me. Even my elder sister said that I had married well. I wasn't very happy, just felt it was troublesome. But if I didn't marry, I would ruin the reputation of the Chen family, affect my elder sister's marriage, and also implicate my step-mother to be gossiped about. Forget it, then I'll marry. On the wedding night, the most handsome man in Wangjing, as rumored, stood in front of me. I hadn't looked at him carefully before. Now that I did, I could see that he was really good looking. But he was a bit too thin and too pale, like boiled chicken breast, dry and tasteless, definitely not very delicious. Xiaoyu's cold eyes glanced at me indifferently and said, "This marriage wasn't my wish. In the future, I'll give you the honor of being Mrs. Xia, but don't expect anything else. Crazy, if it wasn't your wish, why didn't you make it clear to your mother?" I rolled my eyes and fell asleep. Xiaoyu, who was standing by the window, was surprised for a moment but then climbed onto the bed and slept with me. However, as we slept, his hand touched my waist. "You need to give birth to the Xia family's offspring as soon as possible." One moment he said he didn't like me, and the next he wanted to have a baby with me. My elder sister always said I wasn't very smart. I really wasn't, because I really couldn't understand Xiaoyu's way of thinking. Forget it. I had to have children anyway. I took the initiative and pressed Xiaoyu onto the bed. What happened later could only be described as uninteresting. His bones were poking me. He was indeed as tasteless as chicken breast. When I forced him to submit, Xiaoyu blushed, as if he wanted to say I was shameless, but on this bed, I wasn't the only one being shameless. He was angry and ignored me for a full 6 months. Fortunately, Mother Xia had good eyes. I was very fertile and got pregnant right away. Xiaoyu and I maintained a polite relationship. Although he was cold, he wouldn't make things difficult for me. I had a good life, but others didn't think so. They thought I must be very painful, because I had lost my husband's love right after getting married. The turning point in my relationship with Xiaoyu was when I happened to save him from being forced to drink alcohol in a restaurant, and he repaid me with his body, me. Just like that, I was pregnant with the second child. The difference was that this time he took extra good care of me, really like a father-to-be. He was also like many fathers, having a female confidant, Shen Qingji, and he would meet in front of my eyes to compose poems, drink wine, and have a good time. I didn't care. The first time I saw them, I even felt a bit embarrassed, as if I had interrupted their elegant time. I left in a hurry, but Xiaoyu seemed to have misunderstood and thought I was jealous of him. "You are the mistress of the Xia family, you should be magnanimous," he said righteously. "Qingji and I are innocent, you shouldn't be so disrespectful to her." He apologized to Shen Qingji on my behalf and sent her many valuable gifts. When Mother Xia found out, she called Xiaoyu over and scolded him. Turning around, Xiaoyu took this grudge out on me. He came into my room late at night and tossed me around. I was extremely puzzled, whether it was a reward or a punishment. It was always the same thing. Was this some kind of gold, inlaid wolf-tooth club? Time passed like this. Xiaoyu was clingy, annoying, and had a sensitive temper. He would turn cold at every turn. The 3 children were just like him. They knew their father was powerful and competed to imitate him and win his favor. Sometimes I wanted to say something, but I was always interrupted by Xiaoyu and Mother Xia. Forget it. Anyway, they all had the surname Xia, without me. There were plenty of people to teach them. I thought this kind of life would last until I died, but I didn't expect that as Shen Qingji and Xiaoyu got closer and closer, everything changed. Xiaoyu finally seemed to have made up his mind to divorce me, the wife he didn't like from the beginning. That was really great. It was like I had been in prison for 30 years and was suddenly released. The day I left, I ate 30 marinated pig's trotters. The people at the next table were dumbfounded. At this time, a person came over and said with a smile, "Does the girl still remember me? That year, when I was on my way to the capital to take the imperial examination, I almost starved to death. You gave me a marinated pig's trotter. I slept until the sun was high in the sky. After waking up, I carefully recalled the plot in the dream. Xiaoyu was really annoying. Wei Nanting was really delicious. 12. Wei Nanting was very competitive. He passed the imperial examination as the top martial arts scholar 2 years earlier. The day he became the top martial arts scholar, he managed to avoid the chaotic situation of being chased by families trying to marry him off right after the results were announced and came to my house. My father had already made preparations. He glanced at me behind the screen and said, "This matter also depends on the will of my Anju." I shyly nodded vigorously at my father. My elder sister pulled me out from behind the screen. When Wei Nanting saw me, his face also turned red. One of us was dark-skinned and red-faced, and the other was fair-skinned and red-faced. We were quite a match. I saw Wei Nanting off. When we were about to part, I secretly pulled his hand. It was so hot, like a freshly cooked bear's paw. I couldn't help it and secretly touched his butt. It was so perky, perkier than a chicken's butt. Before I could put away the lewd smile on my face, I met someone's eyes. Xiaoyu stared at me with wide eyes. He seemed to have run over. His jade crown was crooked, his hair was disheveled, and he was panting. He glared angrily and demanded, "Chenanju, what are you doing?" Before I could speak, Wei Nanting spoke first. "It's not you she's touching, mind your own business." As he spoke, he put my hand, which I had retracted guiltily, back on his butt. How presumptuous. My face turned bright red, Xiaoyu's lips trembled, and he seemed on the verge of collapse. "Chenanju, have you really changed your heart? How could you treat me like this?" I didn't pay attention to Xiaoyu. After saying goodbye to Wei Nanting, I closed the door in front of Xiaoyu's face, shutting out his devastated face. That night, Xiaoyu actually climbed over the wall and came in, the dignified young master of the Xia family, a person who always valued his appearance the most. Actually climbed over the wall. The person in the moonlight stared at me intently. The bright moon was high in the sky, and the night breeze was cool. Xiaoyu said, "I should have realized it earlier. Chenanju, you don't remember me, so you're so heartless as to not come to see me for so long. You don't remember me, so you're willing to use another man to anger me and willing to be so cruel to me." I listened, dumbfounded, and forgot to chew on the chicken feet. There was still a marinated pig's trotter hidden in my quilt. When I heard the footsteps earlier, I thought it was my elder sister coming to catch me for a midnight snack. Xiaoyu continued, "It's good this way. If you had the memories of the previous life, you would surely resent me. It's better to start over. Now, it's not too late. In this life, we can start anew. I can marry you again. This time, we won't divorce." I was stunned and said, but I'm not planning to marry you." Xiaoyu froze in place. I said sincerely, "I really don't like you." 13. Xiaoyu's eyes suddenly lost their luster. His thin lips were tightly pursed, and his face turned a bit pale. He took a few steps forward, grabbed my wrist, and shook his head. "I don't believe it. In the previous life, you loved me deeply. We treated each other with respect and had 3 children." I scratched my head and asked, "Then why did we get divorced in the end?" Xiaoyu's voice became hoarse, and regret flashed in his eyes. I was too naive. I thought a wife should be erudite and talented so that we could have a harmonious relationship, but I didn't know that a woman's lack of talent is a virtue, and a woman who cooks for her husband and stays by his side is the one who really knows how to live a life. I didn't really stay by your side much. It was you who always came to find me, but I didn't have the nerve to say this. I was afraid he would cry on the spot. Xiaoyu frowned and asked, "Did you hear something about me from your elder sister?" I shook my head. I didn't want to talk to him anymore and directly shouted loudly, "Someone, catch the rogue." Xiaoyu's eyes widened in an instant. The servants rushed over when they heard the sound. How could the pampered young master of the Xia family outrun a group of servants? In the end, Xiaoyu was embarrassed, pressed to the ground. The Xia family sent many gifts to apologize. They all ended up in my elder sister's hands. She said she would keep them for me first, if it became my dowry. After I got married, Wei Nanting would also have a share. If he wasn't a good person, it would be a loss. I listened, confused, and habitually nodded obediently. My elder sister sighed and said, "With your temperament, you really should be paired with someone who has more thoughts." "Except for Xiaoyu," I said. "Wei Nanting doesn't have many thoughts either." My elder sister smiled and didn't refute. I didn't see Xiaoyu again later. I heard that he was punished by Mother Xia to be confined at home and reflect. Unexpectedly, Shen Qingji suddenly came to look for me. She was still as delicate and tenacious as before. Her oval face was exactly 2 sizes smaller than mine. "Miss Chen, the second, I came to find you just to say a few words to you." I agreed. My elder sister only said not to pay attention to Xiaoyu, but she didn't say not to pay attention to Shen Qingji. She was satisfied and took me to a tea house. when I was cracking melon seeds, she took a sip of tea. When I was eating mung bean cakes, she took a sip of tea. When I was eating grapes, she took a sip of tea. Sure enough, some thin people were thin for a reason, Miss Chen. The second, you're actually a smart person. You know that cousin is just interested in you for a while. If you agree to him, he'll soon get tired of you and then realize that you're not the one he really wants. What he wants is still a woman who can compose poems with him and share common interests. I looked at her in shock. She actually knew all this. She really was a talented woman. Perhaps my amazement was too obvious, and Shen Qingji's momentum weakened a lot. Ahem, I didn't come to find you for any other reason. I just want you to see this clearly and not fall head over heels for him, otherwise it will be a loss if you get divorced a few years later. I thought for a while and said, then do you want to marry Xia Yu? My straightforward words made Shen Qingji freeze for a moment. You're so straightforward. I just want to remind you, I have no other intentions. I chewed on the pastry and asked in confusion, and, a cousin has no right to meddle in a cousin-in-law's marriage, right? Or, are you the one the Xia family has secretly chosen? She quickly interrupted me. Don't talk nonsense. I'm innocent with cousin. I'm just here to remind you out of kindness. Ed. I racked my brains to recall the ending of Shen Qingji in the previous life in my dream, but in the end, I got nothing. I went to Qingzhou with Wei Nanting and settled down in the place where my elder sister had once lived. Many years later, I received a letter from the capital. The handwriting was Xia Yu's, but the paper was yellowed, as if it had been written a long time ago. As for the content of the letter, it roughly said, several times during the night rain, he thought of me and wanted to come and see how I was doing, but he never had the time. There were water bandits in the south, and he had to go and suppress them first. If I was still there, I would surely bid him farewell with deep affection and prepare enough food for him. Of course, his words were a bit too affectionate. Wei Nanting was a bit jealous after reading it and made me work hard all night. Along with the letter came a message from Mother Xia. She said this was what Xia Yu wanted to give me but never had the chance to send. I suddenly realized that Xia Yu might have been dead at that time. I slapped my head and suddenly understood. So, only those who died early could be reborn. Then Shen Qingji should have married someone else. Shen Qingji left with a black face. After leaving the private room of the tea house, we met again at the entrance of the toilet. Her face turned red, and she looked a bit awkward. I burped loudly. 14. Ending. The day I got married to Wei Nanting, my elder sister gave me 18 handsome servants. Wei Nanting married into my family, so, life didn't change much after marriage. I just ate more. After all, I had more physical exertion, but unexpectedly, Wei Nanting didn't want me to have children. He said my birth mother died in childbirth when she had me, and he was worried. I patted my chest and told him that I was probably fertile. He gritted his teeth and asked me how I was so sure. I said I had 3 children in my dream, but quality wasn't guaranteed. Wei Nanting asked me who I had the children with. I immediately shut up, but he actually saw something. He might be a bit smarter than I thought. This guess was further confirmed in the following years. His official position got higher and higher, much more powerful than in the previous life. Some people said that since he was already a great general, why was he still a son-in-law who married into the wife's family? He should immediately change back to his original surname and re-establish his family. That night, Wei Nanting stood by the bedside of the person who was gossiping, holding a big knife. If you make my wife misunderstand me, you'll have to pay with your head. Then no one dared to say anything anymore. At that time, my elder sister had become a famous businesswoman. She traveled far and wide and lived the life she wanted. Her body, which had been damaged by childbirth in the previous life, was extremely healthy this life. As for Xia Yu, he volunteered to go to Qingzhou. Before he left, he came to look for me. The rain was pleasant to hear. He stood under the eaves not far away and watched me for a long time. He said that in his previous life, he died 3 years after our divorce. He took on the task of suppressing the water bandits. Those water bandits were about to approach Qingzhou. He went without hesitation and then died by the river outside Qingzhou city. He didn't see me one last time. Actually, I already knew this. In fact, Mother Xia had come to look for me. Her son suddenly changed and always came to look for me. Naturally, she noticed something strange. She accepted the fact of rebirth and quickly found out what had happened to Xia Yu. She said that her son was arrogant and it was only natural for him to stumble in love, but she never expected him to fall so miserably. I didn't think it was miserable. There were many people worse off than him. He just couldn't accept that I left so freely. The clouds rolled and the clouds scattered. Wei Nanting and I spent the spring and autumn together. We never heard from Xia Yu again. Story 2. After the female lead's death, Huiqing, the crown prince of the Hua family who was once clear as the breeze and bright as the moon, began to indulge in drinking, racing, and hating me. Huiqing hated me and had me confined. On the anniversary of the female lead's death every year, late at night, he would come to torment me over and over again. Yuan Jiaojiao, why wasn't it you who died? Later on, I really did die. After my death, I was reborn and returned to 10 years ago. At that time, the female lead was still alive. I took the initiative to break up, to let him have his love, but he burst into my home like a madman. His eyes were bloodshot and obsessive. Yuan Jiaojiao, you are mine, you were in the past life, and in this life, you cannot think of leaving me. 01. Only when I died in childbirth did I realize that the world I was in was a tragic novel. I was the villainous side character who prevented the main characters from being together. Even though I grew up as childhood sweethearts with the male lead and eventually married him, I never won his heart. In the end, I died in the delivery room trying to bear his child. Yuan Jiaojiao, you are not allowed to die. Why do you die when I haven't tormented you enough? I drifted aside while Huiqing frantically shook my corpse on the hospital bed. He truly hated me. If given another chance, I would definitely not fall for him again. With this thought, I found myself swept away by a tremendous force. When I woke up, I was in the old Yuan family mansion, in a pure white princess room arranged by my parents. The girl in the mirror was young and fresh, with a tender and naive face. I was back to 10 years ago. There was a missed call from Huiqing on my phone, and for the first time, I did not call him back. 02. My name is Yuan Jiaojiao, the only daughter of the Yuan family in the capital, raised with utmost affection and indulgence. My engagement to Huiqing was verbally agreed upon in our childhood. Our elders assumed that once we graduated, they would hold an engagement ceremony for us. After getting engaged, they sent us abroad together for postgraduate studies. After completing our studies, we were to marry and each inherit our family's businesses. A perfect match, childhood sweethearts, according to the elders. Huiqing and I would be the most envied and happy couple in the capital's social circles. But then Chu Lin appeared. From the moment she entered school, she fell for Huiqing. Despite him already having a girlfriend, she approached him relentlessly, pursuing him. Initially, when Chu Lin confessed her feelings, Huiqing, with a furrowed brow, told her he had a girlfriend and even pulled me in front of her to show. Later, when Chu Lin gave up on him, he began to feel anxious and insecure. He said he had never seen a woman as carefree as Chu Lin. Gradually, he lost himself in Chu Lin's relentless pursuit. Chu Lin, like a blazing fire, rolled through Huiqing's life, which should have been smooth and prosperous, leaving it completely unrecognizable. Even after her death, he remembered her for a lifetime, and he hated me for a lifetime, tormenting me for a lifetime. 03. In this life, the female lead Chu Lin still appeared. On the first day of school, she arrived at the school gate riding a Harley. In February, she wore a black tight sweater and skinny jeans. Her chestnut short hair framing her face, capturing the attention of all the boys with just one glance, including my boyfriend, Huiqing. Huiqing, do you think she's beautiful? I suddenly became curious, a question I had never asked in my previous life. Too ostentatious. I don't like it, Huiqing replied almost without thinking. A friend joked, in Huiqing's heart, you're the most beautiful. Huiqing didn't argue but merely hooked his lips lightly. In the eyes of our friends, this was an affirmation. They held in excitement. Huiqing, you're so whipped. Jiaojiao is blushing. Huiqing is definitely going to be whipped by his girlfriend, and surely by his wife later. Huiqing let them tease, slightly bowed his head to tuck my stray hair behind my ear, and I shyly lowered my head in response. In my ears, the sound of Huiqing's heartbeat, the laughter and teasing of friends, was like the most passionate youth anthem of a summer day. Yet my mood was as cold as ice. The chill was bone-piercing. Just moments ago, when Chu Lin smiled, I witnessed the astonishment in Huiqing's eyes. It was brief, but it was a look I had only seen once before. At my 16th birthday party, Huiqing attended with the elders of the Hua family. Encouraged by my mother, I performed a solo dance to Swan Lake. That night, Huiqing found me in the glass room under the moonlight. He said, Yuan Jiaojiao, your ballet just now was the most beautiful dance I have ever seen. I believed him, my face flushing red under the moonlight, but as it turned out, there is no most beautiful. Chu Lin's cha-cha at the school anniversary entered his heart and stayed there for a lifetime. As expected, Chu Lin was set to perform at this year's school anniversary celebration. I suddenly became curious. What would the outcome of this life be if I hadn't stubbornly pursued a relationship with Huiqing? When the list of hosts for the anniversary was confirmed, and Huiqing was one of them, he invited me to co-host. I declined, citing a busy academic schedule. My roommate mentioned that a freshman from the performing arts department was on the list of hosts, and I just smiled faintly. Chu Lin wouldn't miss any opportunity to get close to Hu Qing. I didn't attend the celebration. I could list all the performances with my eyes closed. The celebration ended at 10:30 p.m., and my roommates returned early, their faces pale, sitting down to tell me in shock about the horrific scene of Chu Lin covered in blood from a light fixture falling on her. On the outside, I showed a shocked expression, but inside, I was unmoved. No one knew better than me how painful it was to have lights fall on one's legs, because in a past life, it was I who lay in a pool of blood. And Chu Lin was the instigator. She had timed it hoping to hit Hu Qing, who was co-hosting with her, and then play the hero to get close to him, but a delay in the previous performance changed the timing, and it hit me instead. I lay in the emergency room for 48 hours before my life was saved, but my legs suffered chronic injuries, preventing me from ever running and jumping like normal people, let alone dancing. The Black Swan variation at the school celebration became my last dance in that previous life. In this life, it was Chu Lin who was injured. Hu Qing accompanied me to visit her in the hospital. Standing in front of Chu Lin's hospital bed, tears fell as I returned her words from a past life back to her. Junior sister, you must rebuild well. Even if you cannot dance in the future, there is still a beautiful future ahead. Although my words were gentle and full of positive energy, Chu Lin's face turned even paler after hearing them. She bit her lip hard, giving Hu Qing a miserable look as if she had been struck a heavy blow. How ironic, she knew the pain now, didn't she? The original speaker of those words had been her, and I had only changed one word. Senior sister, you must rebuild well. Even if you cannot dance in the future, there is still a beautiful future ahead. Seeing the humiliated expression on her face, I felt a deep sense of satisfaction. I clenched my fists to suppress the smile tugging at my lips. From the corner of my eye, I saw Hu Qing frown and look at me disapprovingly. So, he begins to feel pity now, I thought. He never pitied me in the past life. I ignored him and left the hospital room first. Hu Qing followed me. You shouldn't have said that. It will upset junior sister Chu. Even after all this time, I could feel his protective stance towards Chu Lin. I forced a smile. Junior sister Chu isn't as she appears on the surface. Hearing my words, a fleeting tenderness crossed Hu Qing's eyes as he recalled Chu Lin's strong demeanor while asking the doctor to change her dressing. Yes, she has perseverance, can endure hardship. Such girls are rare these days. How ironic. In my previous life, during my hospital stay, Chu Lin visited me with a gift. She stood by my bed, tears falling like pearls, and it just so happened that Hu Qing saw this, after she left. Hu Qing said to me, Junior sister Chu is quite sensible, not quite what her appearance would suggest. That year, he was a senior, although it was time to hand over the presidency of the student council to the next generation. He fought against the opinions of others and held on to the position until graduation. Later, I realized it was because Chu Lin was a member of the school's publicity department, and a retiring president shouldn't frequently meet with members. From that moment, I started noticing that Hu Qing treated Chu Lin differently from others. I began to stir up trouble, successfully becoming a catalyst that strengthened their relationship. I stared blankly at Hu Qing. Hu Qing, you're a senior now. Are you still planning to stay in the student council? Hu Qing's eyes quickly darted away, then regained composure, his dark eyebrows furrowed, clearly displeased. Jiao, you don't need to test me like this. I have no thoughts about her beyond being classmates. After saying this, he angrily got into his car and drove off. The car disappeared into the distance, leaving me alone. I looked up at the foggy sky, laughing until tears came. I hadn't said anything much, just asked if he was going to stay in the student council, and yet, he got so angry. It was nothing more than having plans in his heart and feeling guilty about them. I knew Hu Qing had fallen for Chu Lin again. Hu Qing and I had been betrothed since birth, and I had always considered myself his bride, even thrilled by a kiss in the glasshouse on my 16th birthday. Even if we disregard the bonds formed from childhood, we had been together for 5 years. Yet, I couldn't compare to Chu Lin, whom he had only met once. Is this what they call the heroine's halo? If that's the case, I, Yuan Jiao, am not without self-respect. In my previous life, had my legs not been completely disabled, I wouldn't have clung to him after discovering his love for Chu Lin. Touching my intact legs, my heart quivered slightly. With my legs healthy in this life, could it be that my fate might also change? In this life, my first quarrel with Hu Qing, though it wasn't really a quarrel but rather a cold war, was entirely one-sided on his part. As usual, whenever I detected the slightest unhappiness in him, I would proactively clarify things with him, but now I didn't want to waste the effort. I asked my parents if it would damage the Yuan family's reputation if Hu Qing and I were to break off our engagement someday. My father's thick eyebrows knitted together. If he dares, where would the Hu family be without the support of the Yuan family in the past? I sipped my soup, the smile on my lips tinged with bitterness. Father didn't know that even the greatest favor could only be called upon once, not for a lifetime. In my previous life, when he wanted to break off the engagement, I clung to him desperately, which led Chu Lin to challenge me to a race, betting on who would leave him. I accepted her challenge, and she died in that contest. Since then, Hu Qing hated me, and even though we were married under the coercion of grandfather Hua, he never let me live comfortably. Mother said, Hu Qing is the most gentle among his peers, and my daughter is both beautiful and intelligent. They are bound to have a happy marriage. She didn't know that Hu Qing might still be gentle now, but after Chu Lin's death, he became cold, indifferent, irritable, and estranged from his kin. 3 years after Chu Lin's death, following my parents, grandfather Hua also passed away. Hu Qing, unrestrained, vented all his resentment on me. He humiliated me unabashedly at home. Yuan Jiao, are you so lowly that you must tie a man who doesn't love you to your side? Why couldn't it have been you who died back then? In business, Hu Qing ruthlessly pursued me. The Yuan family's business being gradually swallowed by the Hu Corporation. You used to rely on the Yuan family's power and didn't take Chu Lin seriously. Now, I want to see what you can do without the Yuan family backing you. When Hu Qing sold the old Yuan family mansion at a low price, he even considered buying the cemetery where my parents were buried to develop an amusement park. At that time, I was already 2 months pregnant and was so upset that I ended up in the hospital several times to save the pregnancy. He stormed into my hospital room with his private doctor, intending to terminate the pregnancy. I knelt on the ground, crying and begging him to spare the child in memory of the Yuan ancestors who once saved the Hua family from disaster. His expression was so calm, as if watching an animal perform, with a cold indifference that had nothing to do with him. If you can keep it, then keep it. How could I keep it? At that time, I was already very weak, even struggling to get out of bed. Hu Qing left me in a private residence of the Hua family without medical care or professional nursing, only arranging for a mute nanny to provide 1 meal a day. In less than half a month, I lost the baby. That was our first child. Whenever I think of these things, I feel a roaring in my ears and my stomach cramps with nausea. My father sat beside me. Baby, tell your father. Did that Hu boy bully you? My loving father was still there, but I didn't know when white hairs had begun to appear in his thick black hair. My throat was so sore. I managed a faint smile and lied. Dad, Hu Qing has a good temper. My father noticed my hand trembling as I held the soup spoon, and his gaze grew thoughtful. After a while, he said seriously, baby, just hang in there. Once I finish this project I'm working on, the Yuan family's foundation will be secure. Then Yuan Hao's daughter won't have to live at the mercy of anyone. The project. My face suddenly turned pale. In my previous life, it was this project that began the slow decline of the Yuan family. Hu Qing and I had been cold to each other for 5 days, something that had never happened before. Our mutual friends noticed and tried to get us out together for some fun, but Hu Qing and I both declined, citing academic reasons. 2 days later, it was Yan Lei's birthday. Since we all grew up together in the same circle and our parents knew each other, I couldn't really refuse to attend. I arrived late, and they were already having a great time. Chu Lin was there too, and within a week, she had made her way into the circle. Just like in my previous life, Chu Lin lost a game again, and Yan Lei, ever the mischief maker, insisted she choose a man to play the noodle-eating game with her on the spot. Chu Lin, still not fully recovered and in a wheelchair, blushed deeply under everyone's gaze. After much hesitation, just like in her past life, she raised her hand and pointed at Hu Qing. I stood at the doorway, smiling lightly, unnoticed as the room buzzed with excitement. Hu Qing hesitated at first and didn't get up immediately, but seeing Chu Lin's eyes redden, he nodded gently in agreement. Each took an end of the noodle in their mouth, and as the noodle grew shorter, their lips drew closer, igniting the atmosphere in the room. Cheers erupted. Everyone forgetting that Hu Qing had a girlfriend, I turned away without looking back. Behind me stood an aunt with an embarrassed expression. Miss Yuan, it's just kids fooling around. Her tone was very cautious, fearful that I might impulsively cause a scene at the young Master Yan's birthday party. She wasn't wrong to worry. In my previous life, I indeed made a scene. I barged into the room with my crutch, slapped Chu Lin, scolded Yan Lei, and even pushed the aunt who tried to intervene. I didn't mean to push her, and I didn't know she was Yan Lei's aunt from his hometown. Yan Lei had lost his mother young and was very close to her. That outburst completely ruined my relationship with Hu Qing and strained things with Yan Lei. At that time, I knew nothing about doing business, only aware that the Hua family owned extensive properties, unmatched in our circle, yet unaware that a third of the Hua family's business relied on the Yen family's connections. The Yen family had a vast and intricate network of relationships. A week after the incident, the major project that was supposed to be a sure thing for my dad fell through. Later on, there was a major upheaval in the Yuan family's business chain. I went to seek help from Yen Lei, but I couldn't even get through the gates of his house. Uncle Yen didn't like me. He forbade Yen Lei from helping me, and even more from getting involved in the matters between Hu Qing and me. Auntie, could you please give this gift to Xiao Lei for me? I won't go in. I smiled as I handed the gift to the auntie, then quietly left. It was as if I had never been there. The next day, Yen Lei made a special trip to see me at school, and we met at a coffee shop outside the campus. Yen Lei arrived first and ordered my favorite, a cherry blossom latte. He first thanked me for the gift I sent him, then delicately said, "Jiao Jiao, I'm sorry. We drank too much last night. Don't take it to heart, okay?" Auntie must have told him everything she saw last night. It's fine. My smile remained as I shook my head at him. He sighed in relief. As long as you understand, Hu Qing knows his limits. I heard from my dad that old Mr. Hu met him for tea recently and said that as soon as Hu Qing graduates, he'll formalize the engagement with your family. It should be soon, right? Soon, according to the trajectory of my previous life. It would be next month, but this time, Hu Qing and I won't get engaged. I blinked, pretending not to understand. Really, actually, I think both Hu Qing and I are still young. There's no rush. Besides, each of us belongs to our own families. If not Hu Qing, my marriage partner could be another young man from the capital, or there could even be some changes. Yen Lei paused, lifting his eyes to look at me, a glint of starlight in his gaze. You didn't say that before. When we graduated from high school, I confessed to you that I only liked him, youthful and naive. I thought liking someone meant for a lifetime, but feelings cannot be measured by time. A lifetime is too long, and liking only one person seems too dull. I chuckled. I was just a child back then. Yen Lei seemed a bit agitated. And now, what about now? I stirred my coffee, not answering his question directly. Instead, I gently placed my hand on his. If one day I have a falling out with Hu Qing, you would help me, right? Yen Lei trembled, his ears turning red uncontrollably. He grasped my hand with his other hand, but only briefly, then he quickly let go. Yen Lei met my gaze, nodding firmly. Of course. He looked at my hand on his, pursing his lips. Jiao Jiao, even if you didn't do this, I, and the Yen family behind me, will always be on your side. Yen Lei had liked me since we were young, but I never felt the same, so he always stayed by my side as a friend. Initially, I just considered him a friend, but after he confessed, I avoided him. Then he became good friends with Hu Qing. After pushing away his aunt's issue, he was indeed mad at me for a while, but when he later found out that Hu Qing was with Chu Lin, he came to persuade me to break up with Hu Qing and consider him. At that time, stung by Hu Qing and Chu Lin, I felt that the unattainable is always the most desirable, and so I rejected him. There was never anyone else by his side. Only later did I find out that the Yuan family was suppressed by Hu Qing. He helped me a lot behind his dad's back. The day I died, he was attending a meeting abroad. Just out of the meeting room, he heard the news of my death and vomited blood. He rushed back, wanting to see me one last time. Unfortunately, the plane on his return journey had an accident. My eyes became sour, and my vision gradually blurred. I looked at the blushing big boy in front of me, feeling a bitter sweetness stir within me. Thank you. Seeing the tears welling up in my eyes, Yen Lei panicked. Jiao Jiao, don't cry, don't worry, I'll stand by you. I know you mean well, but your father. Yen Lei lifted his chin proudly. My dad, the big romantic, listens to everything I say. Uncle Yen truly is a rare romantic in our circle. Yen Lei's mom passed away from complications during childbirth, and Uncle Yen raised him single-handedly without remarrying. In this life, I haven't caused Yen Lei's aunt to be hospitalized. The Yuan family hasn't fallen into ruin, and my reputation is still intact. Uncle Yen should help my family. Seeing my worried look, Yen Lei quickly raised his hand, swearing an oath. Don't worry, I'll make sure my dad helps when I get back. His smile broadened, his eyes twinkling like stars. That promise was all I needed. It's well known in the capital that the men of the Yen family keep their word. Sorry, Yen Lei, for using you first. In return, I will definitely change your fate. I reached out and tugged at his sleeve, curving my lips into a graceful arc. Go back now, and remember not to let anyone know. Yen Lei touched my hair lightly with his hand and grinned. I understand. As the car disappeared around the corner, I moved forward a few steps to a black van parked nearby. Using the closed windows as a mirror, I examined my appearance. With reddened eyes and a flushed nose, I looked both innocent and pitiable. It turns out this could work too. In my past life, I disdained Chu Lin's facade of being strong in front of others but weepy behind them. Now, I find myself acting just like her. I dropped the pitiable facade and walked towards the school with a serene face. 11. Inside the black van, the assistant in the driver's seat, dared not make a sound. Hu Cheng's dark eyes were fixed in the direction of the school gate. He had originally promised Chu Lin to take her for a checkup today, but coincidentally, as the car reached the school gate, he saw Yuan Jiaojiao entering a cafe by the roadside. She had been there for half an hour since her appearance. The tinted car windows shielded the inside from view, but from inside, the actions and expressions of those outside were clear. His girlfriend secretly meeting with a brother. Hu Cheng scoffed coldly, feeling the irony. He had been feeling guilty, avoiding getting too close to Chu Lin. It turned out Yuan Jiaojiao had gotten close with Yan Lei first. No wonder she was less clingy than before, dismissive in her messages, and unresponsive to calls. This was for the better. He didn't need to feel guilty anymore. Hu Cheng's lips twitched. He took a deep breath, trying to suppress the unease in his heart, but it was to no avail. Just then, Chu Lin slowly emerged from the school gate. She was dressed beautifully in a mint green dress, revealing her slender legs. Her pretty face lit up brightly at the sight of him. The bright sunlight added a touch of wildness to her. Hu Cheng watched the girl not far away, narrowing his eyes. Before coming, he had asked his assistant to drive the company car to avoid being recognized. Thinking of the intimate behavior between Yuan Jiaojiao and Yan Lei earlier, he suddenly didn't want to hide anymore. Let everyone see. Hu Cheng pushed open the car door and stepped out. 12. That evening, Dad announced that the project was finalized. With Uncle Yan's connections, it was settled over a dinner. I called Yan Lei to thank him, but he hung up. 3 seconds later, he video called me from the gym. The person in the camera's lens has fair skin dotted with fine beads of sweat and bright red lips. It makes one's heart skip a beat. I called to thank you. Did I disturb you? The man paused mid-action, his bright eyes intently staring over. Do you still need to say thank you to me? At those words, I pursed my lips and remained silent. Seeing that I made no comment, Yan Lei coughed. I don't mean to rush you. Take your time. I won't mention it to Hu Cheng. Anyway, I'm fine with it. It's just that sometimes I want to see you, but I'm afraid to seek you out. After all, it's not officially acknowledged, and it could lead to gossip. After he finished speaking, he moved the phone slightly away. He lifted his shirt hem and wiped the sweat from his face. In doing so, he revealed a clear set of abs, so striking that it was hard to look away. Honestly, Yan Lei has a better physique than Hu Cheng. I swallowed and shifted my gaze away lightly. As for Hu Cheng, I'll handle it as soon as I can. But maybe I'll need your help again. Is that okay? The man in the video looked at me and grinned with a flash of his teeth. Happy to help. That evening, someone captured a photo of senior Hu Cheng from senior year picking up a junior girl in his car. I remained indifferent, continuing with my usual routine of classes, library, and dorm. A kind classmate came to warn me, but I only responded, I believe Hu Cheng isn't like that. And although I haven't met Junior Chu personally, I've heard from other friends that she might seem unapproachable. But she's actually very nice. The person hesitated to speak further, then just shook their head and left. Later, rumors spread that Chu Lin and I were close friends and that Hu Cheng picking her up was at my request. My roommate saw this and scoffed. Who would want to be friends with that kind of person? I don't know who started that rumor, who else but Chu Lin herself, trying to snatch Hu Cheng and step on me to gain a good reputation, playing both sides. That's the heroine for you. Let her take Hu Cheng if she wants, but I absolutely won't allow her to step on me to climb higher. A week after Yan Lei's birthday, a video of Hu Cheng and Chu Lin playing a game was posted on the school's forum. Overnight, the way people looked at me changed from mere disappointment to sympathy and indignation. In a previous life, Hu Cheng told me it was just a game and not to take it to heart, but was it really just a game? I skipped class with my roommate Tang Tang and bought a bunch of snacks. When we reached the student union, they told me Hu Cheng was in the office, carrying a lot of stuff. 2 classmates volunteered to help carry it up. Just as we reached the president's office door, we heard voices inside. I didn't know any of the people there at the time, except you a bit. I didn't expect it to be misunderstood. I'll go to Yuan's dorm later to explain, and I'll clarify on the forum too. Hu Cheng leaned on the desk, facing the window, with the female voice falling into his ears as he rotated his wristwatch. His tone was emotionless. No need, let them talk. Chu Lin was silent for a while. Her tone aggrieved. I'm sorry, I didn't know you had a girlfriend." Hearing this, Tang Tang couldn't hold back anymore. Thrusting the snacks into the arms of a classmate behind her, she kicked open the door and pointed at Chu Lin, erupting in anger. "Give me a break. Who in the school doesn't know Jiao Jiao and Hu Qing are a couple? Their photos have always been pinned at the top of the school forum, and last year in the school's promotional video they were even holding hands on camera. If you're blind you should at least have ears." During the school anniversary, when Hu Qing was hosting, the girls were shouting Jiao Jiao's name so loud they almost broke their throats. "Are you deaf? Even if you are blind and deaf, wouldn't you ask if someone has a partner before playing flirty games with them?" The other members of the student union who had come up laughed. Their looks toward Chu Lin were full of disdain. Chu Lin, suddenly exposed, her face flushed red, instinctively looked towards Hu Qing. Hu Qing looked deeply at me. "Why did you come today? Not yesterday, not the day before." But today, she probably thought I was disrupting her plans. Chu Lin slightly curled her lips, lifted her chin proudly, and looked at me with a hint of triumph. "Before coming here, I thought these two would deny everything to the end, but I didn't expect Hu Qing to be so careless. He even openly showed his disdain." I lowered my head, feeling a bit amused. My shoulders shook slightly, and it took me a moment to suppress my laughter before I looked up again. "Can't I come?" My voice was calm, but there was a choke in my tone. To others, it must have seemed like the ultimate grievance. "Why is Senior Hu Qing like this? I heard he and Jiao Jiao are even planning to get engaged. That's so blatant, totally irresponsible." Although I look somewhat delicate, I am strong-willed and never show weakness in front of others. Even Hu Qing was taken aback for a moment. He had never seen me like this before. He gradually frowned, seemingly unsure how to handle the situation. In truth, I didn't want to hear his explanations. I just wanted to get this drama over with. My tears were almost ready to fall. "I'm leaving." I bit my lip, giving Hu Qing a mournful look. The tears I had prepared started to fall in front of everyone. Then, taking Tang Tang by the hand, I turned to leave, but I was stopped by a student council member. "Senior Yuan, don't go. The one who should leave isn't you." "Yeah, some people are too much. They need to figure out their place. Don't get too arrogant with a 2+1 attitude. Just stop being disgusting." The murmurs grew louder. Chu Lin's chest heaved with anger as she stood up, fists clenched. "Yuan Jiao Jiao, stop playing the victim. Was it you who posted that video on the forum? Last time, you even went to the hospital to mock my disability, and now you're here staging this drama for whom?" I couldn't help but smile internally. That was the right approach. These were the lines from my past life, back then. I stormed in here alone, wanting to confront Chu Lin about whether she was the one who leaked that night's video, only to see her crying in Hu Qing's arms. Furious, I lost my temper again. Seen by people from the student council who came to deliver something, Chu Lin played the innocent victim and started crying about leaving, which led others to accuse me of throwing a tantrum at the student council, ruining my reputation at school from then on. This time, I just went downstairs first, brought some snacks for the students in a meeting, and when they cautiously asked me if I had seen the forum, I confidently and openly expressed my trust in Hu Qing and Chu Lin. It was somewhat similar to what Chu Lin said in my previous life. "I believe Senior Yuan didn't mean to do it. She just loves Senior Hu Qing too much and can't control her temper." "Right, Chu Lin, have you gone mad? Who would post such an embarrassing video online for others to see? Why are you snapping like a dog?" As I walked downstairs with Tang Tang, I could hear Chu Lin's tearful sobs behind me. "Why are you all treating me this way? I clearly haven't done anything wrong." My roommate was so angry she gritted her teeth. "I really want to slap this idiot." I patted her on the shoulder, telling her to relax. Stepping out of the main building, a gentle breeze and the bright sunlight made me look up at the blue sky and smile contentedly. My roommate puzzled. "How can you still smile after all this?" "Because I won." From the visit to the hospital, I had deliberately provoked Chu Lin to make her angry. As the art of war states, agitate them and tire them. If your opponent makes you angry, you're likely to lose. In my previous life, Chu Lin agitated me first, causing me to lose my composure and rhythm, and I kept losing to her. This life, I started by agitating her first. I won the first round, and now, by agitating her again, I've won another round. I won. I will keep on winning. Suddenly, a wave of panic surged in Hu Qing's heart as he stood up straight in the office. Just as he was about to follow someone out the door, Chu Lin grabbed his arm. "Senior, could you please speak for me?" "I didn't do it." Hu Qing lowered his head to look at Chu Lin, who was crying pitifully, and suddenly felt a sharp pain in his stomach. Hu Qing was hospitalized. His classmates from the student council sent him there. Acute gastritis. He posted a message on his social circle. Soon, all his close friends rushed over. When everyone arrived, they found only Hu Qing and Chu Lin in the hospital room. They all laughed. They were about to tease them, but Hu Qing glanced behind them. A trace of disappointment flickered in his eyes. "Is it just you guys?" Everyone was startled. Within their circle, they were the closest. If anyone else was to be mentioned, it would only be Yuan Jiaojiao and Yan Lei. With Chu Lin there, it wouldn't be appropriate for Yuan Jiaojiao to come. Someone guessed he was asking about Yan Lei. Yan Lei has been busy lately. Whenever we call him out, he always says he's busy. Busy, of course, he's busy. Busy dating, such a couple. Hu Qing's expression grew colder and colder. Seeing that the atmosphere had turned tense, everyone dared not speak further. Only Chu Lin, a bit bolder, poured a glass of water for Hu Qing. Hu Qing took it, then coldly pointed at one of the guys. "Call Yan Lei." That guy did as told and put Yan Lei on speakerphone. As soon as the call connected, heavy breathing sounds that could lead to wild guesses were heard. Bang! Hu Qing slammed the glass down onto the floor. Ah! Splashes of water and shards of glass scattered everywhere. Chu Lin screamed in fright. Everyone was silent, not knowing why Hu Qing was so angry, and too scared to speak. The breathing from the phone continued. Hu Qing shouted into the phone, "Yan Lei, what are you doing? Who's with you?" The sound of a treadmill stopped, and from the phone, Yan Lei's chuckling voice emerged. "Hu Qing, why the rush? Just running. Who did you think was with me? At this hour, that lady who let out a cry, who is she?" His tone was lazy, but each word struck deep into Hu Qing's heart, and those who were initially clueless began to grasp something. Did Hu Qing think Yan Lei was up to something? But even if he was, what did it have to do with him? Why was he so anxious? The next day, the story "Chu Lin has no shame, a real vixen" exploded across the social networks. Everyone knew that Chu Lin shamelessly interfered with Yuan Jiaojiao and Hu Qing's relationship. Hu Qing was not much better. Openly displaying affection with his mistress in the student council, Chu Lin and Hu Qing's reputations were completely ruined at the school. Meanwhile, Yuan Jiaojiao seemed to have given up. Previously, she kept her distance from other men because of Hu Qing, but now she was frequently seen with Yan Lei, the heartthrob from the neighboring university. Those in the circle sensed the real story. Hu Qing was angry because he knew Yan Lei and Yuan Jiaojiao had gotten together. But he had found someone else too. Hu Qing had someone call Yuan Jiaojiao. Reluctantly, the person dialed her number. Compelled by Hu Qing's chilling demeanor, the call connected slowly. "What is it?" A man's voice came through. The temperature in the room seemed to drop below zero. They knew that voice all too well. Hu Qing forced a smile, flames nearly shooting from his eyes. "Yan Lei, why do you have Yuan Jiaojiao's phone?" A laugh came from the other end of the line. "Hu Qing, not only is the phone with me, but she is here with me too." Hu Qing's veins throbbed at his temples. He snatched the phone and smashed it violently against the wall. "Yan Lei would visit me every now and then. He's a student from the university next door and comes to our school to play basketball. You're 20 minutes later than yesterday." Yan Lei, dressed in a loose blue basketball jersey, ran over to me. "Lately, I don't know what's gotten into him. He often stops halfway through the game to have me bring him water, even though there's bottled water available at the basketball court. He refuses to drink it, insisting instead that I make him herbal tea, claiming it's for health reasons." I handed him the kettle with a faint smile, explaining, "The water dispenser was broken, so I borrowed some hot water from the dorm supervisor." He huffed, picked up a bottle of mineral water from the ground, opened it, and handed it to me before taking the kettle from me, pouring half a cup, and mixing it with half a cup of mineral water before gulping it down. Sweat soaked through the back of his jersey, and with each breath he took, the logo on the front of his team uniform rose and fell. The setting sun sharply and deeply cut the contours of his profile. There were many tall guys with broad shoulders and narrow hips on the court, but Yan Lei stood out the most. It made my throat itch just looking at him, and I casually turned my gaze away. The next second, my head was turned back. "Miss Yuan, what strange thing are you looking at? Is it more interesting than me?" When Yan Lei lowered his head, his eyelids drooped, giving off a despondent and pitiful vibe, much like the Labrador on my roommate's wallpaper. I couldn't help myself and touched his fluffy, curly hair. Yan Lei's face immediately turned red, and he growled quietly, "What are you doing? You can't just touch a man's hair like that." "Oh. But I already did." I pursed my lips and smiled at him. "Sorry, I'll do it again next time." "Forget it, but don't make it a habit." He took a big gulp, one hand holding my thermos, the other pulling on my arm. "I'm so hungry. Treat me to a meal." I really should treat him, considering I owe him a big favor. I smiled and was about to get up when a basketball came flying straight at me. I was frozen in place, terrified. As a dark shadow approached, lightning flashed and thunder roared. and a large hand caught it, slamming it back. Yan Lei shielded me behind him and yelled, "Huiqing, what are you doing?" Huiqing had arrived at some point. Without Chu Lin by his side, he often played basketball, but each department had its own court, and he seldom came to ours. Huiqing wasn't in his basketball jersey but wore a simple jacket, sweatpants, and sneakers, looking like he had just finished class. I always felt. He looked up at Yan Lei, his lips gradually straightening into a line. Sorry, it slipped. Both of their faces turned cold, creating a tense standoff. The air seemed to be filled with the smell of gunpowder. Yan Lei, I tugged at his arm, and he looked down at me in surprise. I'm hungry, let's go. I smiled at him. He stared at me for a couple of seconds, then pursed his lips. What do you want to eat? What do you feel like eating? Are you really treating me? Yeah, no, don't. I can't accept a girl taking me out for a meal, under the setting sun. We walked side by side out of the basketball court, neither of us giving Huiqing another glance. Huiqing stood rigidly in place, everything around him receding at an unusual pace. All he could see were the fading figures of the two of us, so near yet so far. The dimming sunlight stretched his shadow long. Perhaps even he hadn't noticed, but his fingers hanging by his side were trembling slightly when Huiqing called me. I was washing my hair and couldn't answer. By the time I dried my hands and tried to pick up, the call had ended. I didn't call back and rushed off to class instead. Unexpectedly, Huiqing was waiting for me in my classroom. Seeing someone secretly taking photos with their phone, I was on edge. It was a large class that lasted all afternoon. Attending class under the watchful eyes of everyone was uncomfortable. According to the plot, at this time, Huiqing should have been getting along well with Chu Lin. Why did he come here? Is there something you need? I asked quietly, turning my face to the side. I'm here to accompany you in class, Huiqing replied without looking up, seemingly oblivious to the stares of others, his eyes fixed on the book he brought. With our current relationship, that's really not necessary. Everyone knows we had a falling out. Huiqing slightly lifted his eyelids. His gaze deep and unreadable. What relationship do we have? If I remember correctly, you are my girlfriend. It's surprising he still remembers that I am his girlfriend. He didn't seem to remember that when he was playing games with Chu Lin. I gave a faint smile. We broke up a long time ago, did we? He flipped through his book, not looking up. I don't recall that. I bit my lip, puzzled by his thinking. Fine, we're breaking up now. Make sure you remember this time. Huiqing closed his book, looking up with a hint of melancholy in his eyes. I only remember that the Hua and Yuan families had arranged a marriage between us since we were children. Breaking up with Huiqing wasn't going to settle the arranged marriage. When Huiqing left, he said, "Grandfather wants you to come over for dinner on Sunday evening, in a past life." It was at this dinner that Grandfather Hua asked me if getting engaged to Huiqing next month was too rushed. At that time, my disagreements with Huiqing had escalated, and unable to endure the humiliation, I complained to Grandfather Hua about him. I told him about Huiqing's involvement with a girl of humble origins. Grandfather Hua, who values social status, struck Huiqing and even talked about setting things straight with Chu Lin. Under pressure, Huiqing agreed to the engagement, but the engagement party never happened, because the night before the engagement, he deliberately soaked himself in ice water all night and ended up in the hospital. To avoid marrying me, he was even willing to risk his life. This time, when Grandfather Hua asked, I planned to refuse directly, but I didn't expect Huiqing to agree before I could speak. Even though Grandfather Hua was asking me, he interrupted. Grandfather, Jiao won't mind. We've been together for so long. Before coming here, I had already discussed it with my parents. They were also aware of Huiqing and Chu Lin's situation, yet now, seeing Huiqing still wanting to go ahead with the engagement, my father was furious. With eyes full of anger fixed on Huiqing, who was calmly having his soup, he restrained his rage and said lightly, let's not discuss the engagement for now. Jiao is still young, and her mother and I would like to keep her with us for a few more years. Times have changed, and there's no longer any need for equal social standing in marriages. If Shaochen truly likes that girl, he should bring her over for Grandpa to meet. I didn't expect my father to be so direct, which made Huiqing suddenly look up. Instead of looking at Grandpa Hua, he looked at me in disbelief. He hadn't expected me to tell my parents about it. He thought at most I would be upset with him, but that we would still get married. After all, I loved him so much. He was too confident. Grandpa Hua found out and decided to enforce the family discipline. Huiqing couldn't escape a beating, but this time, without my insistence, the marriage was called off. My relationship with Huiqing was officially over. That night, I posted on my social circle, once wished for us, now wishing for you and me. Many friends privately messaged me asking what happened. I simply replied, we broke up. There was no need to explain further. They all knew about Hu Cheng's heated affair with a girl outside our circle. The Yuan family and Yuan Jiaojiao were not at fault. I watched the drama unfold like an outsider. In this life, I was a perfect victim. Hu Cheng and Chu Lin stood at the lowest moral point. Only one person liked that post in my social circle. It was Yan Lei. At midnight, he called me. Want to go see the sunrise? Sure. I put on my prettiest dress. Quietly, I ran downstairs and got into Yan Lei's car. The air conditioning was on, and he handed me a blanket with a flushed face. It'll take an hour and a half to get there. You should sleep a bit. I took the blanket, looked at him for a while. Why is your face red? Is it? I blinked. Come closer. Let me see. He pursed his lips, came closer. His face got even redder. I moved closer. Our lips touched, the touch and temperature just right. Sorry, I wanted a kiss. Is that it? What else did you have in mind? His eyes deepened, a faint blush in his glance. I licked my lips unconsciously. The strong scent of masculinity hit me. The heat of his lips, his solid body. Yan Lei was skilled. A tingling sensation spread as fireworks exploded in the distance. I was lost in the splendor. The sunrise was beautiful. As the sun rose from the horizon, Yan Lei took a photo of me and posted it on his social circle. Caption, lover. The comment section exploded. Are you guys together now? So early in the morning, you were together last night. I zoomed in on Jiaojiao's neck. I leaned on Yan Lei, laughing uncontrollably at the comments. I had never experienced this feeling of being declared before. I saw Yan Lei replying to everyone. Finally got the chance. Of course, I had to secure it early. I turned my head, the man beside me staring at his phone with a victorious smile. The sunlight made his face look stunning. After almost a sleepless night, I caught up on some sleep the next morning. It was pouring outside. The maid hesitated as she pointed downstairs. Master Hua has been here for a long time. Miss, be careful. I always feel that Master Hua is a bit strange. The moment I saw Hu Cheng, I understood what the maid meant by a bit strange. In just one night, he seemed like a completely different person. He was sitting on the sofa when he heard a noise and looked up. His usually cold and indifferent eyes were like two bottomless black holes. My heart skipped a beat. The man in front of me was a spitting image of the one 10 years later, full of hatred and brooding. I was certain that Hu Cheng had also returned, and when he saw the marks on my neck, his eyes suddenly turned bloodshot. A bad premonition washed over me. The next second, Hu Cheng rushed at me like a madman. He grabbed my neck with both hands. Yuan Jiaojiao, who allowed you to be with Yan Lei? I tried to pry his hands off, but it was useless. The disparity in strength between men and women left me powerless to fight back. As I began to suffocate, I saw my aunt try to pull Hu Cheng away. But he pushed her aside with one hand. Yuan Jiaojiao, you belong to me, in past lives and in this one too. Don't even think about leaving me. His eyes were blood red, and he was clearly not in his right mind. The air in my lungs was slowly escaping. I felt like I was going to die. Is this my fate? Even reborn as a supporting character, I'm doomed to die at the hands of the protagonist. My vision started to blur, and my consciousness began to fade. Suddenly, a figure appeared and pulled Hu Cheng away. The pressure on my neck was gone, and I collapsed to the ground, gasping for air. Yan Lei pinned Hu Cheng to the ground. Cough, cough, cough. Don't hit him, just call the police. Hu Cheng was taken away directly. The house was equipped with cameras, and his actions were caught. Constituting intentional harm, because the injuries were not severe, he was sentenced to only a year and a half, but that was enough for me. Hu Cheng was indeed exceptional, but the Hua family has other grandsons. The Hua family wouldn't want an heir with a criminal record. He was now out of the running for the inheritance. After Hu Cheng was incarcerated, I kept tabs on Chu Lin, finding her close with another wealthy young man in the circle, though he wasn't as blindly romantic as Hu Cheng. Perhaps it was because of Hu Cheng's precedent. Initially, the man had genuine feelings for her, but he didn't let it affect his decisions regarding arranged marriages and education. Chu Lin followed him for a while but was eventually dumped, unsatisfied. She went to his family's home and was humiliated. On the way back, she was in a car accident. She ended up with the same fate she had before. She clearly had other paths to take, to leave and start anew. Unfortunately, she hadn't been reborn and didn't know that this world was just a tragic novel, or perhaps, the current developments are just a new novel. But what does it matter? What's real and what's not? Who can truly say? Yan Lei's social media updates weren't hidden from elders. Uncle Yan saw them, and so did my parents. A week later, the Yan and Yuan families arranged an engagement for their children. Yan Lei was quite unhappy with it. Can't we